Good evening, all. We are live with this week's Midweek Geek. There wasn't a Midweek Geek last week. I do apologize for that. I just wasn't feeling it. My brain was mushy. I was tired, and I was meh. And I just wasn't in the mood to talk to people because I'd been forced to make small talk in a very busy shop for 8 hours that day without really wanting to. So there you go. That was my excuse.
Hey, who had your back last week?
You did. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I had an early night, so there you go. But thanks for that. I am joined by familiar faces, all too familiar faces. Bear, Saxius, and IQ. How you doing, fellas?
Yeah, good.
Life is a dream. I hope to wake up soon, but life is a dream.
I mean, clearly Iman is far too cool for us nowadays. He's just going to sit there silently with his microphone off, behind those shades, just chilling. Is that right? Is that right, young fella?
Evening, fellas.
He's been reading the bio. He's been reading a bio on Ted Kaczynski, obviously.
No, we'll have no.
So.
You are?
I'm recovering from a migraine, so.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Oh, right. So.
Oh, yeah, I've had 2 in 2 weeks, so.
We'll keep it down, young fella. We won't talk very loud for you.
Yes.
Just gonna talk like this, and then every now and then just be like, Iman, what do you think?
John, do your phenolic voice.
No. So, who have we got in chat with us tonight? Square Peg Makes Games, Mike Percival, Straw Piglet, Mr. Baker, Halakar, Richard, Brian James. Anyone else I've not? No, there. Those are all the people who've chimed in so far. Hello, chat. There are 15 people lurking in chat, though, so obviously taking a week off has sort of refreshed people. You're all sick of me before that, and now you're not. No longer sick of the sound of me. Right, recent games, fellas. Bear, we've been called off again this Saturday.
Yes, we've been called off again this Saturday, and though Thursday night I've got Barebones Fantasy Session 2 happening, and Friday night Heroic returns, so that's going to be fun. But Saturday was supposed to be Albana, but sadly Cody is unable to play due to getting settled into his new abode. Therefore, we've postponed until October again. And I'm saying this officially here and now. If October gets canceled, the campaign's canceled, because that's just we haven't played since June at this point. You know what I mean?
No. We miss it, Bear. We miss it.
I miss it.
Yeah.
I'm not just some DM goon. I have plans. I have dreams. I have aspirations.
Exactly. And you have expectations, which is something what we're going to be talking about tonight.
I miss it too. Yeah, no, I do miss it.
I don't like this new Iman.
I'll just be glad when we get back into it.
Yeah. So, any games since we last met? Anyway, Bear, have you played any games, or is it a game this week?
This week, yeah.
Yeah. Saxius?
Yes. So there was Heroic that IQ was in. I'll let him talk about that if he wants to. Yeah, you'll talk about that.
Oh, you want me to do it? Oh,
yeah. This is you played in that game. No point in me stealing that away from you. I then had my my Saturday game was cancelled because we weren't really aligned with getting a game running. So we've got that scheduled for this Saturday. And my 5e once every 2 weeks game we ran. And the players, we've kind of set up where the players have met some other characters who are basically, they're very much retired characters or retired adventurers who have basically gone, we were young once, we don't have the energy these days. And many of the players sat there and went, you know what, this actually resonates with our characters. After everything you've put us through, Oscar, we also want retirement. So we like the fact that there's a goal for us. And then I put the players through the ringer of having them face a I say pseudo. It was a flesh golem infused with a plague devil with reinforcements from one of the other. Oh god, it was Nerul of Greyhawk. I've also infused some other powers into there.
The Reaper, Nerul the Reaper, yes.
The Reaper. So they got to fight that when they'd uncovered one of the villains' experimentation sites. Not to mention, I went into detail where most of the players went. This is just straight up horrific. Asking why are you telling us how he's done these things to these people? So a little bit of horror for that, and I managed to convince trick one of the players who was the cleric to use necrotic damage against an undead. Effectively, I loved it. It was fantastic. After he did his damage, and me just going, "Thanks for the healing," and on to the next attack, and the player just went, "No, what have I done?" It was good. It was good. I almost killed 2 characters in that session. It was lovely. It was really great. Plus, we had to pull out, the rules for if you ran through a reach area, do you get attacks of opportunities, which was quickly settled, but it was nice. I like it when the players are literally getting out all of their abilities, like scrounging for anything to survive.
Testing them, and that's what matters.
I'm not testing them. I'm trying to kill them.
Save versus Taxius.
They need to die. They have lived long enough. They need to die. Their characters need to become meat for the fodder. And it will be so much more better for the story if I can just kill 1 or 2 of them. I just need one to go into save versus.
Back in the 9th century, was it the 10th century AD? The Danes inflicted this attitude on the east coast of England.
And well, you were stronger. It only took you a few hundred years to get over yourselves.
I mean, let's be honest. It's not like you guys you were sitting there looking all invadable like that with your monasteries full of gold.
You were teasing us, like having it right there by the coastline.
And so, you've been bullying the Irish at this point long enough. Someone needed to kick you firmly in the ass. So,
very probably.
Anyway, so that's been my games. I feel a little bit more energized, but more importantly, in 2 weekends' time, I will have my finale for my Red Hand of Doom, and I am trying to get, because one of the players is hosting this time, and that player has been telling her parents what the games have been like, and apparently I've been terrifying the parents, so naturally I extended an invitation to the games to them.
Oh,
of course.
So if they want to see
generational torture, Sax.
Yes.
Wow, this is a bold new evil for you.
So I've told them I will make pre-gens for them. They can sit down and play with it. They're fully informed of what they're getting into. So, hell, there was she dropped that her sister, who has played with us before, may also be there. So just for safety, I'm making a 3rd character, just so that we can get the entire family in there to die. It's great.
Yes. Yes.
This made me happy. Thanks for asking.
Fratricide is killing your brother. Sorricide's killing your sister. What's killing a whole family?
The king.
Yeah.
What is killing a whole family?
I don't know.
Patricide, matricide, mother and father.
Listen, you guys can look that up. I am on enough watch lists.
Saxicide, clearly.
Saxicide, yes. Just to say hello to Dirty History and Hobbies, hello to Shay Rinky, hello to RPG Dad, and there's Andy as well, who looks like he's recovered from last night's game.
Might be familicide, apparently.
Familiar.
So it does say it is a multiple victim homicide where a killer's spouse and children are slain. So I don't know.
Oh, all right. Okay, so Iman, do you want to tell everyone about what Saxius did to you on Friday? Clearly not.
I can tell you as much as I can remember because it's been Friday now. So
then.
There's been lots of shed life since Friday, apparently.
There's been lots of migraine headaches and sensitivity to light and sound that has been plaguing my existence for the past week. Right. So, from what I can remember, we had like a little hiatus for about 3 weeks, and then on the 4th week back, which was the Friday just gone, we played. Sax just gave an amazing recap, which obviously helped me and Jason sort of get back into the swing of things. So last session, we met a character called Obfuscate, who basically told us, well, he was a vigilante, which we found out. Me being dense as usual, asking all sorts of stupid questions. But then Obfuscate basically told us that one of the locations which we wanted to scope out and see if there's any like illegal activities going on there. He said, no, there's no need to check that place. That's fine. But us being us, we wanted to trust but verify. So we went there anyway, sort of scoping out the place. And we saw that there was like a bunch of homeless people outside. And one of them in particular didn't quite look like your average homeless person. And after, passing, I think, what was it? An intuition roll or something?
You spotted them. You spotted.
We spotted that he was basically, there was something glowing underneath his blanket, and it didn't look like, something that a homeless person should normally have. So my character, Quantum Logic, flew over, snatched the blanket out of his hands, and flew away with it, leaving the guy exposed. At which point, an alarm starts sounding. And then Jason's character, Night Owl, was on the roof at this point while I was flying away with the blanket, and he basically got a gun put to the back of him and was like, "Don't move." And this
turned out he was a good guy. Turned out the homeless guy was a good guy.
Yes, not really, but it turns out he was Obfuscate's teammate, if you will. Like they happen to know each other or they work with each other. So then Obfuscate told us not to go here. We went against his word. And then his teammates there, like, you really should have listened to him. Yeah, now we're going to have to like upend everything and move our whole operation somewhere else. And, you've really made things difficult for us. And then me being dense as usual, tried to help. So.
Yeah.
Actions have consequences.
Oh my God, do they have consequences?
Yeah.
But consequences have actions.
Oh, there are loads of things I can now
actually. The fucking wheel, man. It's all on the wheel.
It just keeps on going. Iman, blabbers, and I just go, would you look at that? That's another vigilante that's got you on their hit list.
Well, I've won 3 games since I saw you all last on a Wednesday. Well, since last Wednesday. Friday night we finished our 4-week look at S3, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. So no more bleeping and blooping from me. And I've done my review of the adventure, and I am more positive about it than I was before, but there are still whopping great flaws with it. So I think I've given it an objective and fair review. I did enjoy running it for the group, and that's as much due to the way the players lent into it and played dumb. That was good. Progress was a little slow. They didn't get very far into the adventure. It proved to be very lethal, but we had some fun. Hello, TD. So yeah, that's done. That's out of the way. I will be running a fully live game, as in all the players will be visible. Well, can be heard on the stream as well this time, of the Forest Oracle. I
love that adventure.
In September, October. No, it'll be November when I get back from Clericon.
Are you going to modify it at all, or are you just going to do it straight?
No, I'm going to run it as is.
Oh, that's a mistake.
No, I have to do that in order to review it properly.
Okay.
and I want people to see just how bad it is.
Oh yeah, straight it's bad, but completely salvageable otherwise.
I'm not going to salvage any of it. I'm just going to run it as is because I want people to
Yeah, okay.
experience just how bad it is. So there we
We
go.
understand, John. Thank you. Stop
Thank you,
justifying.
John. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah.
Just it's okay. It's okay.
No,
We
Richard,
get
I think 6 was the right score because of its flaws. On my scale, 6 means it's worth looking at if you are willing to put in the work to make it to iron out the cracks. That's what it means on my scale. So that's
Hey, John, can you do me a favor? Can you pin up
What's that?
Mike Percival's most recent comment?
where's that? Where's Mike Percival's
It's not too
most
far
recent?
Above where you said PC side.
Oh, show me on the doll where Saxius killed your character.
I can't show you because the esoteric concept of soul does not exist on a doll. Therefore, I can't show you the scarring that has been done to my chakras.
I had the pleasure of so there's a podcast that I used to listen to where the DM would every time he killed a character he would draw the death of the character and he would have a large corkboard that he would then pin it up to and it would be covered from wall to wall. I would love to do that one day. Start collecting my trophies that way.
I should do that for Call of Cthulhu on a Tuesday night, shouldn't I?
Hey, you got a
nice.
few trophies last night, didn't you, John?
I did indeed.
Oh,
I did indeed.
Did my comment actually come true?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Nice.
More than
What
you would have imagined, mate.
Before they even began, as they was getting together to start, I quickly jumped in and just dropped a quick line and just go kill some characters and left.
Yeah. I'll come to that in a minute. Saturday, I ran MERP, and the party took out a fairly important individual. So it's on a bit of a. We shall see what the consequences, the repercussions will be, because they have captured him. He's still alive. And yeah, they know that he's fairly important, and they did a really good job of capturing him and killing some of his men, but one of his men did escape. So, the plot thickens. And then on Tuesday, didn't play on Monday. We didn't play on Monday because we had too many people. One of the DM wasn't available. The guy whose house we go to wasn't available. The other 2 in the group won't play online, leaving potentially 3 of us if I could have got Iman playing, but I don't know whether Iman would have played on Monday or not. But there would have only been 3 of us, so it wasn't worth it. So we didn't play. I didn't even approach you, Iman, because there was only me and Dan who were available on Monday.
Oh,
Yeah. But last night we finished up hello, Daniel. Last night we finished up the Roman side quest in Horror on the Orient Express, where the players learn the origin of their nemesis, and the sad way in which he became who he is in the 1920s. Yes, it was brutal. It was sadistic. There were players squirming, which was good. Some of the things they found and the happenings were uncomfortable. I think it's the best way to describe them, Iman. Wouldn't you say?
Poor. I mean, not only were the things you were describing disgusting to begin with, but the way you were describing them was more than doing it justice.
Yeah. I mean, you come up against the leader of a cult who delight in skinning people. You're going to find some fairly horrific artifacts in his inner sanctum. Yeah.
Oh, and did we?
Oh, you did. Oh, you did.
I
But no,
don't
they all
even wanna-
died. They all died. But the problem with those side scenarios is it does allow for characters to
Well,
survive,
actually,
but it is very, very difficult. That one. It is almost
Well,
a predetermined
actually-
outcome in that one.
we did survive, but we decided to go on one last hurrah after retirement. Then we died.
Yes. Yes, of course. Yes. Because how else would you have known that Tilius Corvus becomes
We
Fenelith?
could have just taken our leave, but no, we had to be like, do you know what? Yeah, we're heroes. Let's go do this.
And the worst thing was, you
But I'm
now
glad we
know
did. I'm
that
glad we did.
you now know that hideous sadistic vampiric creature that stalks you and plagues you in the 1920s was once the most honorable and loyal general in the Eastern Roman Empire. He was a wonderful individual who just happened to
He
get
was.
doused in the blood of a worshipper of Nyarlathotep. And there we go. There we go.
Well,
So
yeah,
yes,
actually,
that
and Andy is technically correct, which is the best
Yeah.
kind of correct. It was supposed to be an adventure, but it basically ended at the wedding.
it ended at the wedding. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. But oh well, you're hoping that scenario might end happily, but of course, no, it's not allowed.
So
It's not allowed.
I'm very
1,
happy.
2, 3, 4, 5. Was that 6 player characters killed?
6 PCs. Yes, yes.
Yep. How's that sound, Saxius?
I'm very satisfied. That sounds good.
Oh, if only you'd
So
have been there
it's-
to hear it.
I was busy, I'm afraid. But yeah, no, that sounds good. It's a good number 6. Usually it's one for every player, thereabouts, and maybe a little bit more.
But they were the like the pre-gens for the Roman side campaign, so it doesn't affect the mortality of the main campaign. So
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's still
anyway, we are
Our
here.
next character will be
discuss-
Bellathea 20th.
Yes, we are here to discuss expectations. Not so much the type of expectations that get addressed in a typical session 0, as people like to refer to it nowadays, but rather the expectations of the DM towards the capabilities and the attitudes and the desires of the players, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. I'd even go so
What-
far as to throw in the expectations and the limitations of that the DM would be aware that they themselves have.
Yep.
Equally so, any limitations that the players would know that they have, when it comes
Yep.
to their style of role playing and contributions to the game. Because
Yes.
when I suggested this, basically what I wanted to bring up is we've covered so many of the basics when it comes to role playing games. I want to throw out something maybe a bit more advanced, which is the DM, the player, having to internally ask, what am I good at? What do I strive towards? Where do I shine? Where do I need to maybe add some polish? Where do I need to hold back? Or maybe where do I not touch this? What genres am I not good at? And equally,
Mhm.
what do the players bring to the table? Because when you've got players, and I'm just going to use some of my games, I've had some players who've come in where one player would say, right, what can I take off the DM's plate so that they can run, so they can be more focused on the game? I've got one player who sits and he does all the administrative stuff for the spellcasters. He tallies up every single spell that is cast throughout the entire session. And then when I tell him I need the count, he resets his counter and gives me the loadout so that I can do the calculations for the XP. And I've got another player in a separate game. She takes notes constantly. She is, rather than the players turning to me for an update, they turn to her, and she then role plays out. Don't you remember these sort of things? And it creates an engagement amongst the players, so that they don't have to sit and look at me going and gawking like, I don't remember what happened 2 months ago. They've got the note taker. They've got a player who sits there and go, right, I remember exactly what happened because I read my notes leading up to today's game. So that's what I want to talk about.
When you start a game, though, you don't expect to have these players with you.
No.
But when they turn out to be those sort of players, what a nice feeling that is.
Well, so I'm going to take on Eli's side when it comes to this. So if you know your group, and if you've played with your group for many, many, many years, you should already know this. You should already know who's the one who shows up for beers and chips. Who's the one that shows up where it is.
Yeah.
They will sit and they will take meticulous notes. They will want to do this. Who is the, for using Matt Colville and his, way of identifying players, who is the actor? Who is the one that is the strategist? Who's the one that sits and reads through all the rules? These are the sort of things that, as a DM, once you know your players and what they fall into, that will allow you to sort of, work within the strengths that the group presents to you. And then you can use those strengths to sort of burden off things from yourself. But if you don't,
if you obviously with that's if you're in a home group playing with friends, you've got an idea of what to expect. But if you are running a game with relative strangers, I like to think that the five of us here, we've got to know each other. Even though only two of us have ever met, me and Iman, and that's only been for 24 hours or so. We've got a good idea, I think, of how we all like to play and what to expect from each other, but maybe not quite to the degree that you would have if you were with friends at a table, because obviously we've only really met through this sort of environment. So yes, it is nice to have these sort of players in your group, but I'm going to reiterate my point that when a player turns out to be that sort of player, I think it's wonderful. For example, Andy's in chat at the moment. I wasn't aware. I knew he was making thorough notes of our Call of Cthulhu game. I wasn't aware of exactly how thorough and how personal those notes were until I actually saw them when he was already 100-odd pages into them. And I read those and I thought, wow. And having that, and having a player with that level of sort of commitment into the game, and now we've got Anne there as well, who is drawing things as we're going along because she's a talented artist. It adds another dimension, and I never expected these sort of players in the game. I didn't ask for the players to be like that, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all because it only adds to the game.
It was a wonderful surprise at the end of the first session that she joined us, and she was like, "Guys, look what I posted in the chat," and she'd drawn something without telling us, without any warning, and we were all just stunned by how amazing it was.
Yeah, and she'd literally just drawn it while we were playing, from her own mind, from the descriptions, which is fantastic. So I love it when a player comes into a game and surprises me with something like that. It shows a degree of commitment over and above what I expect, which is lovely as a DM to get, because I am so used to my local group turning up. We used to say, we'll all be over at Richie's house at 7:30, and we'd all be there at 7:30, and then takeaways would turn up, and someone might roll in at 10 minutes late with a bag of chips, and he'd be sat there. Everyone would be sat there eating, and I'd be sat there with my screen out, my dice out, having eaten beforehand, thinking, okay, so we're waiting again for 20 minutes, half an hour before we actually start. And I always used to ask, is everybody? I say people, can people please eat before going? But that never happened. So I started turning up at 8 o'clock on purpose because I didn't want to sit and watch people eat. It was annoying, frustrating.
Your intention was to show up there and game.
And game, yes.
Mhm.
Because the last thing at the time I was doing judo tournaments and I was eating very carefully, and I did not want to sit and watch people gorge on kebab and chips for 20 minutes when I was avoiding all that food on purpose to try and keep my weight down. They have the right to do it, but I don't want to be there and do it. So I would turn up at 8 o'clock. And I say, because I don't want to sit and watch you eat takeaways. So that's what I was used to. The players didn't take notes. I managed to get one of them to draw maps, but it was a Friday night, and they were a group of friends who were there very much for what you would call a beer and pretzels game. They didn't want anything more than to hang around with their mates and play some games. They didn't really care what game it was. So I think the level of commitment I'm seeing online from people on Discord and whatever is different. Very, very different. Bear, you're sat there very quietly.
I didn't realize there was a question on the table.
There isn't a question.
I heard you pontificate about weight loss and gamers eating food, but I've heard no question in here that I can respond to, sir.
Does there need to be a question, though?
Yes, that's how this works. Otherwise, it's just people firing off their opinion. So I'll jump on the question from the chat, which is opinion. Is it unreasonable to give your players homework? No, it's not. It's unreasonable to expect them to do it, but it's not unreasonable to give it to them.
I will disagree on the one example I'm about to give. If we've all picked up a brand new game, my homework is read the goddamn book.
Well, okay. With all due respect, Sax.
Yeah.
Expectations are nice. Expectations are something we can really hold dear to our chest and our heart and really believe in ourselves. But they're also futile, and humans will constantly disappoint you. So have no expectations. Have boundaries, have principles, have requirements, but don't have expectations. Say it. This is what time we start play at. If you want to eat, show up a half an hour early and eat. But the game starts at 8, and if you're eating, your character's not there. 2, I expect you to know how your character works and how the rules work for the game. Read the rule book. I've provided you with a PDF, or here's a copy of a $10 Savage Worlds book, or whatever it is. Learn the goddamn game. 3, there will be no bullshit. This is not a beer and pretzels game or a game of Toon. When we start playing, we're playing. One thing I used to do in my Marvel games was, and if you say it at the table, your character said it, unless you clearly mark yourself as out of character before the comment comes out of your mouth. Only took about 2 or 3 times for them to say something really stupid in front of, Dr. Doom, for them to go, oh, yeah, no, we should really pay attention to that rule, and that's how it works. If you expect people to do things, they will disappoint you. But if you set boundaries, you provide limitations, and you give them tasks, now it's on them. And it changes the entire power dynamic in that situation, where they have to decide if they are going to be responsible or not. If you give expectations, they're just going to be little savages like everyone is, because we all are. We're little savage humans. And the minute we get out of our controlled organization of work or whatever it is that we're in school, we want to be free anarchist. Rah! Well, good for them.
No, I get what you mean. I would probably say, correct, you're right. Boundaries and principles and all that would definitely be more in line with what I do. But I think it also then boils down to the tone that you set as a well, like it or not, when you are the storyteller, when you are the game master, when you are the dungeon master, you're the leader of the group. You're in charge of them.
I disagree, but that's okay.
Sure.
It can be like herding cats sometimes, though.
It is like herding cats, not can
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
It is 100% like herding
are.
cats.
Absolutely. Well, in my experience, this is the case. I will find myself. I am now scheduling our next meetup. I'm booking the rooms. I am doing all of these things. As
Mhm.
far as I can see,
Yes.
I'm in charge. I'm the
Of
one who
course.
says, these things. I set down the rules. I set down the boundaries. I am the one who basically goes like, here's how we're doing it, and this is what's going to be done. There can be disagreements with it. So ultimately,
Okay, but that doesn't make you the leader. That makes you the administrator.
oh,
Now,
sorry.
I know in
To
your
me,
world,
that
Zach,
is one of the
administrators are leaders. I know that's how your world works.
That is indeed how my world works. Yes.
But having
The more-
expectations is like trying to gather sand in your fingers, right? A lot of shit's going to slip through whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? It's just the way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So reduce, as someone said, your predetermined, disappointments or whatever the term was they used, and just have boundaries, rules, and requirements. And with those three things in place, you've got a leg to stand on when they don't follow through. If you and I say this in all aspects of life, even beyond gaming. If you have expectations, you will be disappointed because humans suck.
Oh god, yeah.
Yes. I'm going to come to a couple of comments. I just want to. Richard has asked about a beer and pretzel. A beer and pretzel game is basically a very casual game where people just sort of lounge around, lots of chatter, and you're there just for the sake, really, of hanging out with your friends. Hanging out with your mates takes priority over the game itself. The game is just something that causes you to get there, and it's
It's
It
like
is
an
an
excuse to go
go on.
hang out with your mates almost, isn't it?
That's exactly it. It is the excuse for social bonding. It is where again friends come together. And it's the game itself is almost an afterthought. It's there to get the laughs out. You
Yes.
can I would point out, at least in my experience, you can have both a beer and pretzel game where you sort of get together. You've got your social things, and then you can merge it towards now we're gaming. I would definitely point towards my real life group where we started out, being just a bunch of random people who met via Reddit. We just all basically went. I said I want a game. Who's in? Picked a bunch of randos and went. We're now meeting in public this place, and we're gonna have a meet, discuss, and see whether my style is gonna suit what you want out of a game like that. Because I don't want to waste your times. Turned out it worked. Turned out for some reason these players insisted on coming up every month and playing. And the entire ritual of us meeting together, asking how we've been doing, having food be brought into, because we go to a pub where we get our own private room to play. We have privacy. We can eat. We can talk. We have the ability to sort of let loose and just get into it. And then once that's all out of the way, we go into the game, and then we slowly immerse ourselves and escape, because the point of the game is escapism, which is what we are there to do. We want to escape from the bullshit we've just been discussing about. The beer and pretzels are gone. Now it is time to be serious. Now it is time to save versus Axios.
Yeah, no, and God, please make that save, or you will carry that weight, darling. But no, you're right, and that's exactly how my home game is. We get together and we lose about an hour fucking around, farting around, and then we start playing. We also book a 6-hour window to play, knowing we're going to lose an hour and a half at the start, fucking around, eating, and doing what we got to do.
And you'll play for about 4 hours, and then you'll chill out for half an hour at the end. And
yeah. But when I'm running a game online, people's schedules are tight, and they show up at the time they show up at, and we should be starting play within 10 minutes.
Yep.
Yes.
No. Yes. Definitely agree.
And
it's the same
you
with
always ask
Mike.
us to turn up at least 15 minutes early to make sure there's no issues before we
stream. Always show up 15 minutes early so we can make sure your audio works, your camera works, your Roll20 works, whatever the fuck tools we need are working. And also subversively, without ever having said it, so you can all chat with each other a little bit and get that shit out of your system.
Yes. And so you can go as at the time the stream is meant to start. You just go right. Okay, now it's game time.
That's what we got.
Right. Yeah, we have a few people joining. Mac is here. Majors and Musings. Hello, Sean. Who else has joined? Elfbait. Hello, Elfbait. Hello, Ralph. Hello, Jeb. So nice to see all these familiar names. I've got a
Eli's here
comment.
too.
I did
Oh,
say
well,
it. Yeah, Elfbait. Yes, that's Elfbait.
I just get used to calling him Eli. I don't know why.
Yeah.
His name.
There is. I mean, I think this is a fair point because, from my experience, it is harder work to run online than it is face to face. It requires more concentration. It is very difficult to have an online session go for that sort of 6 to 8 hours because of the extra concentration. But that's my experience. I know Saxius not entirely sure about that, but
No, I straight up disagree with you.
you disagree.
Yeah,
You're
like,
wrong, but you're allowed to be wrong.
well, it's your show. You can say what you want.
Yeah.
My point is, no, I run multiple 6 to 8 hour games. Yes, they require an investment from the DM. But if you are going to be preparing a 6 to 8 hour game in real life, I put in a lot of work for things like that, and that's how I roll. So if you are able to wing 6 to 8 hours as you do, then that's your style. Well done to you. I couldn't do that. I do a lot of prep work for these things, and 6 to 8 hours, lovely. Could certainly do that on the regular, as in every Saturday. With my current second edition group, yeah, but I currently also deal with other people who are married, have kids, and have other things going on. They're not willing to sacrifice their entire Saturday for that. I could, because I don't have much of a life outside of my work and my hobby.
I think the point is, though, the face-to-face game, 6 to 8 hours, is quite easy because I think the environment is a lot more relaxed. And online there is a bit of expectation, a bit of sort of extra focus. It can be, I think it's a little more mentally draining to run a game online than it is face to face.
That and you always have that asshole that falls asleep.
Oh, that's you. Yeah.
But okay, so I am talking from the international side of, I am having to deal with some people who are 5 to 6 hours behind me. I am having some people who are 2 hours in front of me. I am in the UK. I am supposedly in the center of the middle. I then have to make whatever work. I've had to do games where I would have to get up, or where I chose to get up at 4 in the morning to run a game that would start at 3:30 in the morning. Start at 4 in the game starts at 4 in the morning, and then that would run up until so it started at 4. We would then usually end around 8 a.m. UK time, because everyone was based in the Pacific side of the United States. There were 12. There were several hours behind me, and they wanted to do it in the evening, so I could do it that way. I made that work. But for the longer games, you need to be either flexible, or you got to be able to commit, or you got to have everyone in the same time zone. Because once you start having all these, because I don't find having a screen in front of me a distraction. I have all my books right here, and that is usually what I defer to. I have several tabs where I can quickly look up what are the spells that I need to look at, what are their effects, quickly done, move on. It is about the amount of work you're willing to put in and how you can streamline your own work capacity as a DM. That is where I disagree with you, is that if you don't put in the ability to streamline all of this, I think that is where the fault lies down. But that's my side of the coin.
As you know, I am a wing it, quite disorganized DM type.
Which I imagine you can do 6 to 8 hours very easily, because once you get that positive energy, it feeds into you, it keeps you going. Ideas are just going to start flowing. I get that same thing, but from the online games, because I hear the terrors, I feel the lamentations, and I see the blood from the characters. So
and hear the lamentations of their women.
Exactly.
The longest session I ever ran was about 9 hours, and it was a Halloween game of the original Ravenloft module.
Are we talking only online or just in general in life?
That's face to face. That was face to face.
Yeah, because face to face, I've done 16, 17-hour sessions. You know,
I've never done that. I've never.
I was in college.
What?
Yeah.
We started playing at like 3 p.m. Next thing we know, it's like 6 a.m. and we're all like, "What the fuck? The sun's coming up." Okay, but we're still gotta keep going. Come on, bud. You know, youth wasted upon us was.
Yeah. I remember I've done a 12-hour session for my university D&D college. Society, where I had throughout the entire year, I had to run 3 different groups through 3 different campaigns, all accumulating to the same place for them to basically face off Strahd, who was a mastermind behind all of this. And oh boy, there was nothing more delicious than just going through and killing off characters who had spent a year investing into this. It's delicious.
Right,
we used to do in high school. We used to do weekend games, but like Eli points out, you know, sleeping and meal breaks were included. Plus, we'd get outside and go for a walk at least, you know, once a day just to clear our heads and be indoors.
See, I never got that because of the way that my gaming friends were scattered. It wasn't a case of all cycling around to a friend's house and playing in a group of 5 or 6. Our 5 or 6 typically would get a bus or a train to meet in Birmingham town centre, then divert to they all go back to one person's house, play for about half dozen hours, and then all have to go. That was it. That was as long as we got.
Yeah, but your country's not that big.
No.
I'm inclined to agree.
You're talking 13, 14-year-olds travelling for 10, 12 miles on public transport to meet up with each other.
But
horror.
So to bring
I live in a city that's 60 miles long. We used to go off, take bus trips over 2 hours to get to games, 3 hours. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, Sax, I cut you off. I apologize.
But yeah, no, it's all good. So, but what we are basically what we've all established here is that we understand, at least from the player and the DM side, what our expectations are going to be. We've seen what it is that we can put in when players decide, like, okay, we're going to commit not just for the bare minimum, showing up, attending the game, the bare minimum. Once they start going a little bit beyond that, this is where it's going to become a bit more positive feedback, positive feedback loop. So my question is, like, have you seen any player, or can you give examples of players that you have seen that have gone that extra mile? I know you, John, have just mentioned Andy and
Anne.
Anne, who have done not only artwork, but who have also then decided to write a minor novella of his character descending into madness.
Other people, I mean, Slan, when we play in our OSE games, Slan documents things. When I do MERP games, Eldarian documents those. So awesome. It seems that that has become a bit of a thing, having somebody in the group document the game, which is rather nice to have. So I'm going to come to a couple of questions that have popped up. Yeah. TD has asked, do you think there should be some kind of penalty for players that don't invest enough to recall what's happened?
In my old Marvel game, I used to have a thing called the Karma Quiz, which was every session I would ask questions. Those questions were either based on the setting material or previous events in campaigns. And if they could answer the question, and it was open book, they were allowed to use their notes, they got 10 karma, right? And I would ask maybe about 20, 30 questions, and they'd pump up their karma pools a little bit with that. And at first, 1 or 2 people would participate. By 6 months into the campaign, they would be like fighting with each other. We'd have to roll a d10 to see who could answer the question first, because, okay, roll a d10, see who gets the highest, they get to answer, that kind of thing, But that was the fun part of it, and it made it engaging and a part of the game. So I think...
But that's a reward for people investing.
Hang on, let me finish. The penalty was not participating later in the game when you needed that karma and it wasn't available. Well, you self-penalized by not participating. And that was what they figured out themselves. Now, I don't penalize like, well, you're not playing well enough and you didn't know who the Duke of Fuckenshire was, so you now lose a level. No, that's silly. You don't punish your players for showing up at the game, but you can incentivize them instead. And then when make those incentives worth something in-game immediately, Bennies and Savage Worlds, hero points, karma, whatever the fuck, a reroll, inspiration, whatever you want to have. And then if they don't participate, well then, there it is. Lord Snufflewuggins is not in charge of Fuckenshire. Fuckenshire will destroy the land of Woobly Doobly. Ha ha, sir, you have entered into the oldest gambit. Don't ask. It's a long-running standing
It's
joke.
a long-running thing, but it's worth understanding. So, no, I do agree. Give rewards for those that invest, and but that's down to the players doing it. So that again, the positive feedback, that can definitely encourage players. Note taking is a major one. I generally try to sort of look to the players when they go like, well, I don't remember what happens. Like, there are other people here. I should be the last resort. Look to the group. Talk. You guys work together. I am the one that's running the world. I am not in charge of what your character pays attention to. They could all be sitting at the same tavern, and one guy is the bard could be deciding, I need to tune my instruments, and is focusing solely on that, while the wizard and the warlock has decided that we need to go out and make a legal document in order to enter into this pact with a.
What you just said there, Saxius, I'm not in charge of what players pay attention to. Fucking spot on, mate. That's the best way you can describe it.
Yes, but then he then spun it into a legal document. Are you fucking paying attention, Imhan? He Saxius'd it.
No. Well, no, he always will. That's his.
If there's anyone in chat who's not familiar with Saxius, he is the definition of the D&D alignment lawful evil. He is the dictionary definition of that alignment.
And I love that.
Yeah, if you look up lawful evil, you just see Oscar's grinning face with the triangle.
It's just me with the contract. Anyway, my point is, I'm not in charge of what the characters decide to play. No, Bootug, you're not wrong. I'm definitely at least neutral when it comes to it, but I am lawful. Either way, the point being, it's down for the players for paying attention. If they are out doing something and they decide that, or they just slip their mind or what have you, then they can turn around and talk to each other. Like, really, I would recommend the DM being the last point. The DM should start diverting all of that over towards the rest of the group so that they can talk. Now, I usually recommend that because that generates teamwork. It generates building of character between the players having to engage with each other, and then that way it means that they have to work together. I'm very much in pro for that. And I'm going to point to Sergeant Dan from what's it called, from Bear's Discord. He's put in a lot of effort when it comes to the heroic Excel character sheet, and it's awesome. When you've got a player who goes out of their way to do that, that is fantastic. What I would, again, this is where I'm going to point out one of my limitations as a player. I am not very good when it comes to communicating some of my ideas. So in one of the games I was in, I made an Excel sheet where it was, here's how we can calculate the values we can do when we do our sci-fi trucking game. The DM didn't like that because that went against the point of the game we were playing, where the money was meant to be incentives, the trucking was a side thing, it was the stories and the adventures. And me being me, I basically went, what do you mean trucking is a side thing? This is the most important aspect of this entire next 12-month investment of my life. And
I'm going to say this. Hang on, Sax. Okay. Hold that thought. John, I think if Sax was playing in the Codex Albana game, Iman, you're part of this conversation as well. DK, sorry, man. I'm sure as shit you guys would have a completely itemized list of every asset, piece of equipment, everything, every coin, every bag of rice. You would have it all completely listed out. There'd be no questions. Thereby, as a player, giving me shit to take away from you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I would give you, so I would give everyone else access to the sheet to view. I would give, Bear access to edit it, but that's what I would do as a DM, is that he should be able to go in and do these things, because and here is my line of thinking, if Bear decides that I'm just going to roll and a thief steals from you, he doesn't need to say it. He just goes in, pluck, out it goes, and then the other players will be like, where did it go? And I was like, well, it's not there. I can see in the history he took it out. It's like, well, I'm not going to say that. Why? It's not for us to know. You just don't have it anymore. See, these are the sort of things.
His fault for not paying attention.
And this is why Sax is lawful evil, in case you were wondering on that debate. But he's lawful evil because while he might stick to the letter of the law, he will always use it to fuck you when possible.
Yeah.
Right.
That was funny.
At least, in my methods, my madness, it brings you entertainment. You know it's funny because you look at it, it goes like, you know what, I'd laugh if that happened in my game. You know what, maybe Saxius is not that bad. Maybe I should join in one of these games.
You know what, we're gonna create a new term today, like say versus Saxius, or to Saxiusize something, and it's going to be called Copenhagen Syndrome. And Copenhagen Syndrome is when you know the DM is trying to kill you, but for some reason you keep playing in that game and going, no, I'm having fun. I swear to God, I'm having fun. But you know the DM is going to fucking murder you.
Patient Zero.
Well, it's named for him. He created it. And Copenhagen because Denmark as opposed to Stockholm, right?
All right, I'm going to answer a question from Mac. It's a little off topic, but it's on one of my favourite subjects. So,
I was wondering when you
it's on two of my favourite subjects. So I'm going to answer this one. Someone commented recently in another chat that Saltmarsh is a good, I'm assuming that's good, module to Cthulhu up with. Have you ever tried? If not, what are your thoughts? I have never tried. I can see exactly where they're coming from. I saw the same comment, I believe. And I believe the way the campaign burns slowly until the real enemy is revealed is perfect for a Call of Cthulhu game. Obviously, the nautical aspect is perfect for a Call of Cthulhu game, and the fact that it is the Samhain, the Sea Devils, that are the real enemies, again, perfect for a Call of Cthulhu game. But you do need to... you would need to add in a little more mystery into the series. A little more mystery. There is a bit of mystery there, but I think you need a little bit more, and you need to work on a few clues along the way. But I think it would. It's as a module series. It's the best one from D&D to be blended into Call of Cthulhu, in my opinion. So yes. Anyway, there we go. Thank you, Hungar, you star member for 21 months. Isn't that's roughly the gestation period of a whale, I believe?
Oh man.
Why do you know this? Like, honestly,
that was a guess. It was a guess. I mean, it's probably nothing like that.
I was literally about to shout at you, like, why do you dedicate this to your memory, but not the taxes?
Right. So going back to expectations.
Yes.
We've talked about people.
That is, you're too nice.
Oh, bear.
No, bear. Thank you.
You're
I have
generous.
fizzy pop tonight.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Thank you. Who got those?
Anders Ironstein, Erisian, Mar Hockman, Paul Morgan, Yor Wong, Jason Jacobson, Magnanimous Gedson, the 13th Thixon, Winnie Eller, and Joey.
There's 5 of those, I think I recognise. So good.
I
Good.
recognize
Well
8
done.
of them.
Now, can we finally change my bullshit fucking tag in your hashtag system, please? I think I just
maybe,
better
maybe,
than that one now.
maybe. There we go. Hungar's been a member of your channel for 11 months as well.
Yes, he has. Not
There
as
we
long as
go.
yours.
Yeah, but there you go. I don't think you added memberships in the same time as me.
Magnanimous
I-
Gedson has
I-
popped
I-
in.
Yes, there's Magnanimous Gedson.
Well, you're welcome, sir.
There we go. People are pinging you, Bear. There we go. Look at
Can we
that.
please, for the love of Mary and Jesus, change that fucking thing? The joke is tired.
The longer a joke goes on, the better it gets.
Not that one. Dirk. Actually, I'm gonna figure it out. This works for my channel. I'm gonna put one in for you on
The
mine.
more a joke winds up the victim of
Yeah.
it, the funnier it gets.
Yeah, that's okay, Judo boy. There's some headlocks coming your way at fucking Cleric.
Okay.
All right, John, you were trying to take us somewhere with
I
expectations.
was. Right. So thank you, Hungar. Thank you, Bear. The stars. But no, where I was heading was towards. We talked about players going over and above what we expect as DMs. What is a baseline expectation that you have of a player? A crucial baseline expectation.
I've said it before. I will say it again. Read the book. Like, you gotta know how the system runs. Like, expectation, rule, call it what you want. Like, you need, if you are in this game and you don't know what we're doing by session 3, get out. I am not here with the patience that I used to have. Get out.
Okay. Have their own dice. Bathe. Yep. I'm talking
Make the
more.
fucking game a priority.
Right.
Yes.
If you're
Yes, there we go.
constantly canceling the game or rescheduling the game because you've got shit, I can't that weekend. I got to do this. I got to do that. Okay, maybe you shouldn't have volunteered for the fucking game in the first place, and now it's time for you to leave.
Mhm.
No hard feelings, and open up that seat for someone who's waiting to play and would love to be there every time we play.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna have a little bit of an excuse here. Bear is twice my size.
Yeah, and also he fights tournament judo. I fight fuck your mother. So it's not going to be a fair fight, and it's going to put one of us in the hospital. Probably me of a massive heart attack or a coronary, but it'll happen. It would not be a good fight, guys.
I
It would
Bear's
be
a
a
big guy.
spectacle
I'm
for
not.
sure.
That's the thing.
I propose we just get a table between them, each one get the same character, and it's down to the dice to roll.
That could be a way of doing it. That could be a way of doing it.
Nerd! Sorry. I had to-
Wrong panel, my man.
Anyway, but no. Okay, so those are things that you expect from the player, but I'm thinking more of a play style.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, I can address this. I can actually talk about this, a play style. You've played in my game, John.
Yes.
You've played in my game, Iman.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have
Yes.
watched some of the other live plays I've done on my channel, right?
Mhm.
I am a filthy,
Yep.
dirty
I've
story
watched
gamer.
all your heroic ones.
Well, there you go. You've watched the heroic ones. I've never once said I'm not a dirty, filthy story gamer. So you know what? Play in the game. Be part of the adventure. Don't be
Invest.
cracking jokes all night. Don't be distracted by the chat if we're live on a stream. Don't be on your fucking phone. Be engaged in the game. Now, I have said many times, I will accept all levels of player. From the person who says, I go up to the bartender and I ask the bartender if he's heard any rumors in the area, versus the person who walks up and goes, "Oh, there, fine seller of ale, I would takest thou time to discuss the various rumor mongings of the area." And both are welcome in my games, and both will be absolutely equal at the table. And it's good. But if you just show up and you don't play your character, you don't make an effort, you don't engage with the plot, and you just engage with the audience, why are you fucking here? just hang out in the audience and make quips, because what you're bringing to the table is a fucking zero event. And I will not tolerate zero event players at my table anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting a lot of effort into these games. I'm doing a lot of backstory. I'm doing a lot of plot preparation. Every time I have to cancel, a little piece of me dies inside, but then it's reborn when we finally get to play. If you're unwilling to be part of that, or you just want to do stupid shit all night long because you're carrying, the gods appeared as an owl on the branch and is watching us, I'm going to throw rocks at it. It's like, okay, well, if that's how you want to play, fuck off to some other game, but that's not how I play. And I've made it clear what I expect from my players. Oh, sorry, expectations are bad. I've made it clear what I require from my players.
Yeah. Engagement.
Yeah.
Saxius, I saw you sort of bounce around with glee when I twisted that question around.
Well, yeah, no, it's a good one. So what I require in terms of the play style is, as Bear said, invest into it. What I require and what I have learned from myself over the last few years is, while I'm happy for, again, everyone to be in my game, my rule is you get what you invest. So people who do bare minimum will get bare minimum. People who do not put any of this effort, and the part where I will start cutting out the fat from the meat is where I have people who sit and, when we are 3 sessions into a game that is well known, that people claim that they have played before, and I'm having to answer basic questions in terms of the rulings. I've got to question your ability to even be able to play it, and that's my minimum requirement. Is that you gotta be at least RPG, you gotta be at least literate enough to know your character. So that's for my number one, is that the players have got to understand, or I have to know that the requirement is, if you want to invest a lot into it, I will invest a lot back into you. I can give loads of examples. My second edition game, they went off to make their own business. Do you know how happy I was going down, sitting and talking through with players, making their own business? Super excited. My players are stoked for that second edition game. And in an odd way, we are ending it at the right time, because we're thinking my characters are at the peak. We don't need to go into mid-teens, not even we barely even hitting the teens. We're happy by 10, 11. This is a good story. And this was built through blood, pain, and pressure.
My answer to the question I posed would be, I like my players to lean into the style of the game I'm trying to run. I'm trying to expand my own versatility at the moment by running different things, games in different styles, and I would like the players just to respect that and lean into that game. For example, when I'm running Call of Cthulhu, we are playing, it's a role play heavy, description heavy, fairly slow paced game. And I want the players to talk about the nitty gritty of everyday life of trying to survive. I want them to get into those little details that make the characters sing. When I'm running OSE, I want the players just to relax and have fun. Just as simple as that. I don't care how they approach the game. I'm going to have a rule when I run the Forest Oracle. I want the players to attempt to take the adventure seriously.
When are you running this again?
November.
Let me know when. I might want to be one of your players for that one. That sounds like a fucking hoot.
It's going to be Friday nights.
I got games Fridays.
It's my Friday night. Give me my Friday night stream throughout
I'll have
November.
to watch the replay, because that sounds awesome. Abomination, seriously? Yeah.
John, you needed to start out that entire thing by going, we're taking this 100% seriously. It's and it's by the book. It's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is the challenge. That is the challenge of that game. We are going
It's
to
a
try and
fucking
play.
Limburger and salt fucking herring sandwich, man. Like, Jesus Christ. With extra salty pickles.
It's being
Right.
done for everyone's entertainment, because we
Yes,
all
it will
know
be.
what has been written about the Forest Oracle. We all know my opinion of it. We all know most people's opinion of it. So it just has to be done. It just has to be done.
Oh my
Right.
God. I'm so looking now. November is like twice awesome for me. One, we'll have just finished Claricon and I'll have met you, and that'll be great. And two, I'll get to watch you do this shitstorm. So I'm fucking loving November.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I just want to check
Daniel
what
should
there
play,
was.
but Daniel should have at least a fifth before he starts playing.
I'll probably take a nap
Oh.
halfway through because I'll be listening to you guys bitch about the module.
You won't miss anything. That's the beauty of that module.
It is so bad, Daniel.
Again.
It is so bad.
Everyone's going to be serious about it, so it's just like if you need to take a nap, it was like, okay, wait, great, we've got a meat shield now.
So anyhow, but yeah, that'll be the rule for that game. But I just want my expectation is that the players in the game will just try and, or at least make an effort to lean into the spirit of the game I'm trying to run. They don't need to be the greatest role players. They don't need to be the best with the mechanics. I'm not overly fussy with players knowing mechanics. I'm quite happy to wing a lot of it. But I just want the players to treat the game how I'd like it to be treated.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
no,
completely fair.
no, absolutely. And one thing that really grinds my gears is when one player doesn't take it seriously, affecting the fun of the rest. I can be tolerant that players can waste some of my time. I can choose whether or not I accept that. But if that's being forced onto others, no, I am not having that. That's a no in my head.
Yeah, you lean into the general vibe of the group
Mhm.
as well. I mean, if the group are clearly trying to just chill out and enjoy a relaxed game, don't come in all like a bull in a china shop and try and disrupt it. Equally, when the players are into role playing and like a more atmospheric game, don't disrupt that. Don't distract people. Just
If it's already an established group, an established game, yeah, find out what the style is and then insert yourself in accordance to that. If you already know what your style is, being transparent and being able to say again, as Bear is saying loud and clearly and proudly, he likes story games. He likes there to be a story, a start, a middle, an end, and a wonderful journey that the players can talk about for years to come. And I think we all want that. At the end of the day, that is what we all want. We want memories, positive memories that will be referred to down the line. I don't even know how. I can't put to words how proud I am to know that there are gamers out there that I have gamed for who still to this day refer back to some of the older games that I have run, who still point to some of those events and go, I remember this like it was yesterday with vivid details. Yes, I know you are one of them. And I will clear out my schedule one day so I can take you into that game again, and it will be a proper game without the need of any of that. So you can get the proper experience from what it will be like. My point is, that to me is worth its weight in gold. That is, I have given memories, which is exactly what many people want when they come to these games.
Hello, SRE second channel. Hello, Kokoshuko Papashango. I saw somebody else pop in. Oh, Crafting Game has popped in, and Xnyard Prime. I think There was a question up here from Richard. I think we've pretty much already answered that, though. The biggest expectation is really, I think, respect the game. No, it's as Bear said. Bear is a story gaming GM. He wants people to engage with the story. I'm quite laid back in my GMing, but I do try to run different types of game because I think it's good, and I'd like the players to lean into that type of game that I run. So yeah, I think Hard Sack's just eating that. Well, he does talk a hard game, and
No, absolutely. End of the day, like if we are to boil it down, I am choosing to be a DM because I have had some of the happiest, some very happy memories running these games, and I would like to pass that forward.
Yeah,
my style is unique in the sense that like I talk a hard game, I do a hard game, and I do all of these things to make you feel challenged. But players come back and they go, I had fun. I was happy.
Yeah.
Copenhagen syndrome.
But them doing that gives you. Go on.
So with Saxius's game, like, he talks the way he talks, but it is as he said. You get about it, he will reinvest that into you and your character, and the game will be amazing as a result. Like I'm trying to do with Heroic, even though superheroes not really my thing. I'm still trying, and I hope you can feel that, Sax.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I know I am going to bring up our Goblins game, but what was nice about that is, yes, we tormented you to high heaven, but you came back each week and you seemed to revel in the tormenting, and the game was adapted to the way we were playing. And yes, as you say, you ended up twisting us back on the course that you wanted to us on, but we went off on a wonderful tangent that I'm sure you enjoyed along the way because it was bonkers.
Yeah. Copium is the root word of the term Copenhagen, right? You're coping. So I think Saxius so the one thing you're not going to do with Sax, from what I've seen, is you're not going to defeat him. You're never going to defeat him. So if you act like a bunch of idiots running around with your chicken-headed goblin stuff and doing all that, he's just going to go away and go, fine, that's how you want to do it? Okay, fine. Then that's how we do it. And then he's going to come back and find some other way to fuck with you. And that's what I respect about Sax.
No, all you're doing is...
That game, though, it was escalating, throwing things back at each other, and it would just escalate, build up, get even more daft, and it was...
So Xnard's asked a question, which is: Are any of you people, you hardened GMs, people who really commit hard to studying comedians and intense voice actors? I have no comment. Allow me to have a gentleman by the name of Conquistador, who hails from the country of San Benito, answer this question for you. When we play the game, it is a game, but it is also life, my friend. And if you do not play life to win and take it by the throat and make it vomit what you want, how can you really be alive? I'm renowned for my NPCs being alive and having voices and motivations and things like that, and their own unique voices and accents. Now, I don't study anyone for it. I just do it because that's what I do. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to be like that. You can run the game. You can literally say, and then she comes over and says, hello, gentlemen, I would like to talk to you right now. And then her friend says, no, don't talk to her. She's an evil person. As long as everybody's engaging and everybody's having fun, it's great anyway, and it'll be a good time. But if you have the capacity to add a little pizzazz, a little flavor, a little something interesting to the NPCs that your players are encountering, it will bring the game more to life for them and leave them with a stronger impression of things. In my opinion.
No, I don't disagree with you. I would definitely not go out of my way to say that I can do any form of acting. I can change my voices a little bit higher up, a little bit lower down. I can do funny, northern Scandinavian accents and that specific region, a little bit of Eastern Europeans when I absolutely have to. But that's my range. I know that it's a limitation, and I play within that strength. And so I go, right, what am I? So I'm not going to be good at the voicing. What can I do? Well, I can get into character. I'm going to be playing Strahd. So I am now going to be getting up from this chair and all my players are sitting around, I will put on my Eastern European accent. I will now pace around them like a shark. And I will now tell them our game. If you look at me, you look at Strahd. And you will see those players be very glued to their character sheets, and that those books are very important to read now, because I am going to go out and I am now going to try to find a way to do something that is menacing, to bring about the entire thing. I will try to make the players go from feeling we have got control to we are the wheels have come off, we are off the road, we are scurrying down the hill, and we're heading towards not a lake. No, it is a lake filled with man-eating piranhas and octopi that wants to tear us apart. That's what we are running towards. So these are the things I know that I am decent at, so I focus on that. And I'll have to point in and go to Imam if he's paying attention.
I am.
All right. Would you say that I am at least somewhat decent at making you feel like, oh, I've got control, to I have got no control? Or do you just constantly feel out of control?
You do have a... No. You have a good knack of letting us feel like we're in control, and then all of a sudden, regardless of dice rolls or role playing, it's like what you want to happen is going to happen, and it's going to be funny for you, and it's going to be a terrible time for us. Like what happened at the end of last session, where we basically got out of dodge and we should have waited a little bit, or at least I think we should have waited a little bit. That could have gone very differently.
Could have gone very differently. You could have stayed behind, potentially saved some people that could now have survived. Who knows? But all you know is that you left and bad guys came instead of the police. And you don't think you made the right decision.
Did anybody die in that event, Saxius?
From player characters? No.
No. Did the people they could have saved by acting, did anybody die? Were any civilians killed?
So civilians, no. Criminals, yes.
Yeah, no one cares about criminals. Okay, because I would say, based on karma rules, if they left and then people died, they should get a karma penalty for not.
Oh yeah. On that one, yes, I do know the rules on that one, so I've not enforced.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I didn't enforce that, but it's a whole case of I am now morally placing upon the players. You could have been better. You could have been.
You notice, by the way, it's been since June since young Iman has played with me, but he's been playing with you two. So all of his stories about you two are coming out, but he's not talking about my stories when he plays with me. That's okay, because in October I'm going to remind him why. These two are pussycats.
What did I say, though? I do miss the campaign. It is worth waiting for, that being said. But,
yes. I will make no claims as to being able to do a range of voices. I'm limited to the voices I can do, and I struggle with some voice nuances. So some of my voices become quite stereotyped.
Nothing wrong with that.
But it gets the point across, I think.
Exactly.
Doesn't it, Iman? It gets the point across when you
do a pretty good outrageous French accent.
When you meet
He really does.
Fenelek. See, that's not an accent. That's a voice.
It's a voice, yes, Iman. But you are warm. And do you have anybody guarding the door of your shed right now? No, you do not, because I can see it. I'm watching. I can feel your warmth.
Do we need an adult?
Yes, young Iman.
I'm
here. A little creepy.
I'm here. It's all right. Continue.
Oh, okay. Well, fine.
Saxius is getting a semi right now.
But yes, I've basically made Fenelek. I've made Fenelek very stereotypically creepy. But that means they know when he's there. They know when he's, and I don't have to describe him. Often the players will wake up, and it'll be dark in the room, and they can feel a presence in the room, and then the presence speaks, and they know immediately who it is. So, yeah. But I think that's all you really need to do. Get a little bit of character in your voice. You don't need to be the greatest in the world at all.
No.
Hello, King Eric. Hello. So, yeah. It's not a requirement. It's what Bear does with his voices. The thing is, Bear, you've had training, haven't you? You've had.
Yep.
I thought you'd done a bit of the old real life acting training sort of
Well,
thing.
I did, but it wasn't okay. Saxis, get ready to put us back on topic. When I started acting as a young man, like before I was 18, I was very quickly introduced to the James Woods statement, which was acting schools are for shit. Why pay a failed actor to teach you his mistakes? And I just acted instead. And I would act with people who were method, and I would eventually get to the point where I felt like Laurence Olivier about it, who, when he was working with Dustin Hoffman, and Dustin Hoffman had done this crazy thing to get into character that had people in panic wondering where he was. Olivier, who'd been sitting in his makeup chair waiting all day for Hoffman to show up, apparently folded down the top of his newspaper, looked at him and said, "Have you thought about acting, old boy?" And then just went back to his newspaper, giving him a complete shot, saying, "You act. You don't need to go be fucking living in a dumpster all night. You just act." So that's where I come from. I learned how to act by role-playing. By playing endless amounts of games, playing endless amounts of characters, figuring out voices, figuring out personalities, and it made me a stronger and better actor because of it.
Yeah. I do a great British voice, do I, King Eric? Thank you.
He does a fantastic British accent.
Yeah, you think that's good? My British accent's so good that you don't realize that this isn't my real voice.
Yeah, no, your accent's okay, but you can tell you're not British. John sounds very British. Yeah.
And from there.
Yes, as from there. Right. We go to so our own limitations. Knowing, I just want to say thank you, Sergeant Dan, for that. We have expectations of our players, and sometimes we go into games with expectations of ourselves. I'm going to come to limitations in a bit, but how do you go about communicating your expectations beyond simply stating them? Is there a way in which you lead by example?
I was hoping you were going to clarify that, because otherwise I was going to say, no, I'm a man. I say what I want. I don't pretend people can read my mind like a woman.
I'm leading by example. Do you have any little techniques by which you sort of transmit what you expect from the game by actually playing rather than just telling?
Well, the GM is a player as well. Always has been, always will be. Just plays from a different angle and different prospect. But if by engaging in scenes with the players, showing up on time, being prepared, knowing the rules, little things like that, you convey confidence and skill to the people. There's a really fantastic story out of and it's again about the film industry, but the movie Suicide Kings, the first day of read through, all these young 20-something actors showed up and were goofing off, and Christopher Walken showed up with his script with notes and blew them away. The next day, they all showed up with binders with their scripts and pens and ready to take notes because they saw what was expected of them. So you must do the same thing as a GM. You must provide example by doing. And that means playing characters that they meet. That means being prepared, not going, hang on, wait, no, hang on, I've got something around here. Being good to go. And when shit goes sideways, as it will always in a role-playing game, being nimble enough to pivot, readjust, and still keep the game going so that they never for a second think, shit, we just threw him off his game. No, they just go, holy shit, like this just keeps going no matter what we do, like that's the point.
See, one thing I like to do, I if I'm running a game with new players, I always like to have a little back and forth with an NPC early on. And I will often really ham that NPC up. I will break the ice by giving that NPC traits that try and get to stand out, and often a different voice. I will speak in character as that, and I will try and lead by example by basically saying, look, I'm willing to make a bit of a fool of myself here. I've got nobody watching me who's going to be going, look at him being daft. I don't care. I'm going to be daft. I'd like you to be daft with me. Get into your character. Think as your character. Let loose
Did I
any
do well with
inhibition.
my Arabic accent for the
You
past
did.
4 weeks?
Let loose with some of with any inhibitions you might have. I do try with a new game to have that sort of NPC very early on to just show that I really have no shame. So don't have shame yourself. Let yourself go. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, as Bear said, lead by example. That is exactly what I do. I show up on time. I contribute. Again, my definition of being the leader is to be the administrator, but that's I come from a different world, and therefore that is how I lead. It is how I make that difference. I provide the oddly enough, I provide in the grimness of the world that I throw my players into, I provide at least the stability of, like, if we need to, I will be the one that will make rules and callings that are fair. I will be open to discuss things. I will be consistent with what I am doing, and I will be at the very least assuring that at the end of the day my players' fun is my priority. The story is fantastic, but I'm not here to tell my story. I'm here for the players to engage in the world, to go through and build their story idea. Even if it's a module, it is their story for them to build, and their fun and engagement is my priority when it comes to this.
I think Alt Cole sums up here what I was saying with this comment here: be the weirdest person in the room. That's how I tend to try and start my games as much as possible.
So I know, at least with Bear, I have on several occasions talked about some of my other groups and how off the rails they will go with the ideas that they will do, and how they will use things like, I don't know, like explosive rune, hide it amongst a pile of coins, so that when the enemy goes through the coins, it will then go boom, and then you've got a shrapnel bomb. These are the sort of groups I run around with. Why? Because it gives me a challenge and it gives me insights and inspiration. Taking these ideas and bringing them over to my real life group that's playing 5e, and then showing them, like, hey, you can do things like this. This suddenly changes the game for them, and suddenly they go, we don't have to just do like firebolt every time. We can be creative about this. We can lay traps that are days in advance. We can do all these other things, and they're loving it. When I first got them, I took them through 3 days. 3 sessions of us just playing D&D, normal, basic, nothing is over the top, to show them, like, here's what my gaming style is going to be like, here's the rules. One of the players at the second session sat there and went, I want to kill this character, as in this NPC that's going across them. Why? Because I was making this outrageous French accent for this morbidly obese bullywog who was presenting himself as the most important man in the entire world, and the player could not stand such arrogance, because I have later learned that he deals with lawyers on the daily, and there's a kind of egotism that he deals with that it just makes him dislike such characters, but that made him invest into the game more, and it made him suddenly go. He felt a reward.
Mm-hmm.
When they defeated that bullywog.
Well, okay, so in the Albana game, for example, this guy here got taken to task by the walrus, right? In the first session, or it was the second session, when all this shit had happened and gone down, they'd caused all this drama at the tourney. He goes back to the camp of his people. He's all, I'm Devere. I'm this big important knight from Pendria. Not Pendria, from
Calabria.
Thank you. It's been a while. And then immediately he gets taken to task by the walrus. But if you look at that scene, and how did I play the walrus? There's no talk to his mouth. It was told, but it was you're nothing. And he was eating. the entire time he was talking to DeVere and giving him shit and paying very little attention to him.
Yeah.
And I based that on a manager I had years and years and years ago who would do that. He would basically give you shit, but he'd be doing something else while he was doing it, thereby conveying in a power move your shit, right? And I did that to John, knowing John's worked in retail. John's worked around people that have probably, he's dealt with middle management before he became management. And that would trigger a response in him. And it did. We saw DeVere go from being this cock of the walk to humbled in 1 second. And then the minute he got back with the others, he was more of the cock of the walk, because suddenly he had to reinflate himself and be the big man all of a sudden. So really, really, that stuff helps a lot. Are there any accents that are considered taboo? I wanted to address this one.
Yes, yes.
No, as long as you're being respectful. If Iman was in a game and they went into an Indian restaurant and I had the person go, hello, sir, how can I help you? What can I get you today? I'm being respectful.
Chicken, please.
You know, but if he wasn't there, like, that might be offensive because I'm now mocking the accent as opposed to replicating the accent.
Yeah,
I had a game. Yeah, I had a game I ran online, a heroic game where they had to go to a store in China, in Chinatown, basically in Lachine, in capital city, and I was a little worried, like, because they're going to go talk to this Chinese store owner, and I'm not going to give him a fucking British accent or a Scottish accent, or I'm going to give him the Chinese accent of my friends in Vancouver that I used to work with and I know very well. So I did. And I kept an eye on the chat. I'm like, is anyone going to start crying fouls? I'm going to be start like, no. And everybody just took it in stride because I didn't do him as a comedy character.
Yes.
I didn't do him as Andy Rooney, Mickey Rooney in I think it's Breakfast at Tiffany's. I did him as essentially Egg Shen from Big Trouble in Little China. You know what I mean? Respectfully, but still clearly what it is. So I don't think there are taboo accents. There are taboo presentations.
I think it very much depends here on your group and your table. My old Friday night Very Beer and Pretzels group was the utterly politically incorrect group. And every bit of mockery, mostly self-mockery, you can imagine went on at that table. We were mostly taking the piss out of each other, but we took the piss out of everybody and everything relentlessly. There was no discrimination at all because everybody, it was like, you know how South Park goes at everybody. It was
no holds barred.
No holds barred. It was was that sort of thing. But I wouldn't bring that sort of style to a group I didn't know. An online group, a group with strangers, or a group that I'm broadcasting a game. If I'm broadcasting a game over the internet, you've got to be somewhat selective. One of the best accents I ever heard was done by a DM. It was a Call of Cthulhu keeper by the name of Dave. And Dave was a big maths teacher. He was mixed race. His mom was Afro-Caribbean. His dad was white English. And we had a scene in his Call of Cthulhu game in New York where we met a guy. It was a black guy sat cleaning people's shoes. That's all he was. He sat on a street corner earning money by cleaning people's shoes. The accent he then came out with, this intense Creole sort of, I don't know if Creole's the right word for it,
Jamaican patois.
Absolutely, complete Jamaican patois, but pushed to the extreme, was magnificent. It was one of the funniest but most authentic accents, but there is a reason why he could get away with doing it, because he himself was mixed race with a black father. I couldn't even attempt that accent without it looking like a mockery. I wouldn't want to try. I don't know. Bear?
There are white Jamaicans.
Oh, that's true.
I have many friends who are white Jamaicans.
He was
One of
just
the biggest
waiting.
Canadian rap artists of all time, Snow, was a white Jamaican. You know what I mean? And
Of
him talk
course
like that all the
he was.
time. What a guan. You know what I mean? Like it's a you need to be respectful to the accent. You need to be respectful to the people. If you are gun shy about doing it, that's cool. That's your choice. That's your decision. But I don't agree with the default style of, this is something we're seeing in Hollywood a lot right now, which is you can't play a gay character unless you're gay. You can't play this character unless you're that, which was, if we all recall, 30, 40 years of fighting to get away from that bullshit so that we would stop pigeonholing people, right? So for me in a game that I'm streaming, if they're going to walk into, I don't know, a Russian pawn shop and Crazy Ivan comes out to talk to them, no one's going to get mad at me for doing that accent. But there's a potential they might get mad at me if they walk into, Mr. Mikado's art thing and he's from Japan. That's silly. That's just silly. And to worry about it, if you're being respectful, is
I guess we worry that we're coming across in a respectful manner. I think.
Yeah, and I get that, and I totally understand that. Sorry, Sax, I know you want to talk.
Well, I just want to point out, like, intent is definitely a part of it. The presentation of it. So that's all about it. I myself, I stick to what I know. I stick within I know my limitations out of this. I focus on what I can do, what I am good at, and then that's sort of where I call it. I am not the actor, the role player that goes into all of these other things. I prefer to throw people into a world where I have meticulously gone through the various different details, and that's what I, put my.
This is a hell of a rabbit hole.
Well,
let's be honest.
In Call of Cthulhu, right? We're playing in the 1920s, so obviously the characters, the people thought differently. So I would roleplay that, and I would say things that I would not say in this day and age.
Plus, you're in Massachusetts, so y'all have to talk like this. That's just the way it is. God, man, did you see the tentacles? They came out the thing and took his brother away. It was horrible.
That was actually a thing. That was actually a thing I've had to talk to my real life players about when I did Call of Cthulhu one shots. Is that these games are set in the 1920s in the United States? There are certain things that I am not going to bring in historically because it is not going to be a part of the story itself. I don't see us benefiting from it. We all know the history of what was going on then, so let's just move on. And then just go on from there. And then as a group, we just went, you know what, we're kind of happy with this. We're not here for a history lesson. We know it was shit. Let's focus on the game and the escapism of it. And let's get into the terror of dying.
There it is. I knew he was evil.
King Eric's asking about mannerisms. Again, I think it's the same. As long as you're
I mean, okay,
as long as there's a respectfulness there,
accent, and you're not doing the Indian head bob all the time, I think it's okay.
I mean, to be honest, in that Friday night group, they didn't care. They didn't care. Didn't give a shit. But I ran a paranoia game, and I picked out an adventure that I thought would suit 2 players, fairly short, and it was based around it was 80s sort of Japanese parody. And I put my judo suit on when I ran it, and every so often I would attempt a Japanese accent, and one of the players was a little bit white knighty about it. And that frustrated me because I was just trying to have fun with a game that is itself a piss take with an obviously tongue-in-cheek adventure. But it's weird. It's a difficult topic. It is a difficult topic.
Well, I mean, look, I have a friend of mine who is flaming would be the description of his type of homosexual. Right. And he's very proud of it. And he just flamboys his way around. So when I ever do that, I do it with him in mind. Right. It's a real person. Mm-hmm. Now, am I going to add that character to every goddamn scene? No. Am I going to put the character in just to be funny? No. But if there is a character that is going to fill that role, I have a personality in mind in my head already. I think we get oversensitive about it, and I will go back to my base point, which is as long as we do it in a respectful way and not a comedic way, we're okay. But if we're going to be mocking it from the position of these people are silly because they don't sound like us, then we have a problem. But also remember, that sword cuts two directions. You know what I mean? If I have the fat British cops who are going, oh, what's all this then? Am I making a mockery of someone's accent? Absolutely. But is it an accent that exists? Yes, it is.
Yes.
So at some point we have to either,
In my
do accents or accept that accents exist. Sorry.
in my MERP game, I have thrown in an NPC who I have used Freddie Mercury as a bit of a an inspiration for him. Yeah,
But
and
do you sing?
No, he doesn't sing, but he has that flamboyance about him. And he's quite suggestive in some of the things he does, darling. And he's also the local tailor, and he likes his posh fabrics and latest. I have this lovely silk, darling, that has been shipped in from across the Misty Mountains. I think it would look wonderful on you, that sort of thing. But he's become quite a beloved NPC because he has become involved, and the sort of the office space at the back of his shop where he does his organization is the character's bolt hole now. That's where they hide out, and they get help from him. He helps make them disguises and costumes so they can move around Tharbad without being recognized. He's become a valued NPC from being just a bit of a throwaway character initially, because they've grown to like him. And
if I may,
yeah.
I just want to give some compliments to Bear, because I very much enjoyed your presentation of the Scandinavians when you showed the Dane in the Albanum. I was sitting here going, I like this. Even when you were doing giving around the accents, what I was more interested in is like, how are you going to represent my culture? And I loved how you got that around. Because I think
when they went to Drail, when I was doing the Drailsmen, when they were meeting. Okay.
Yeah,
they're descended from the Danes.
Yeah, exactly. So they've got the descendants, and from what as you were saying, they're trying to upplay it because it's the whole descendants thing.
Huh.
So yeah.
Cheers, mate.
No, all I did there, by the way, was just watch and think about all the voices in the 13th Warrior.
Yeah.
Right. There's an NPC that was in one of my campaigns. Who was the guy who would speak like this? And that's all he did. Like, I don't think we're going to have to deal with him. And it worked fine, and there was no problem with it, right? It's just, you just get to have fun. And if everybody can stop having their heads up their ass, okay, Iman, how I spent 9 years with an Indian girl, right?
Yeah.
We were together for 9 years. I worked in Vancouver in security, which we ironically nicknamed Sikh security because it's mostly full of guys, Sikh men.
Right.
Some of my best friends are Sikh, okay? And like I've grown up, I spent so much time in their culture, and they literally call me Gora. They call me Desi Gora. That's what they call me, right?
Right, yeah.
Indian white guy. That's literally my nickname. In that, for all the people I know from India, they call me Desi Gora. Because while I can do the accent, and while I know the Hanji, Achi, Acha, I know all the stuff to do, Gigi, I know all the right stuff to say and all the right stuff to do in the right situations, I'm never disrespectful about it. Mm-hmm. The only people I ever see getting upset about this shit are culturally stunted white people.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, it's never the people who you're imitating.
It's never people who you're not imitating, but representing.
Yeah.
Like my Chinese friends have corrected my Chinese accents in times. Go, no, do it like this. And they're like, oh, okay, I get it now. Thanks for that. My Jamaican friends think it's fucking hilarious when I say, well, go on. They're always like, white boy. And that's the way we play. So maybe we should not worry so much about people who are not of that culture what people who are not of that culture have to say about these things and ignore their fucking air and worry only when the Jamaican person or the Indian person or the South African
I think that's
person
right. Yeah, I think you're right.
steps to you and says, oi, 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 that was offensive. Then you can
Yeah.
have a conversation with them about why. You understand? Like, am I talking crazy? Do I sound? I know I'm Canadian and we're different, and I get that. But do I sound like a madman right now?
No, fucking spot on, mate.
Thank you, sir.
And look, if anything you guys had ever done in terms of accents or voices or whatever was offensive, well, or at least I thought it was offensive, I would have told you. But one,
I
I'm
would
not
hope
a
so.
snowflake, and two, like you say, it's just part and parcel of the experience. There's no need to get offended about it. Like, John, I was doing an Arabic accent for the past 4 sessions. Do you think it added to the story, or do you think it took away from it?
Yeah, it went Russian a few times.
Yeah, I mean,
as you admitted, but yeah, it did. Yeah,
As
I just
it
want.
is wont to do.
but what about when I was trying to rescue my beloved?
There you go.
I
Exactly.
can hear the Russian. Yeah, I hear it,
Yeah.
man. I
There's a
hear it,
little
yeah.
bit of Russian in there. I don't know why, but I'm trying to.
I just want to say thank you for a particular comment to Orc Col. Orc Col, you are in Bear's chat at the moment, so you probably can't see a lot of the chat.
Yeah, I keep posting over there for everybody to come over to this chat, but people are going to do what people are going to do.
Absolutely. But thank you, Orc Col. We are of mixed levels of experience. Daniel's been very quiet tonight. Daniel likes to listen a lot, and he often falls asleep because he goes to the pub beforehand. Iman is new to the game, so what we like basically from Iman is that he is learning, he is picking up on what we're doing, and he's come into the hobby with this refreshing innocence, but there's also a respect for the game as well. So he's a good guy to have, and the three of us on the top row are just grumpy old knobheads. So there we go.
Well,
I'm not that old.
My defense,
I don't know about that.
I just haven't DM'd in 25 years, except for once or twice here and there. So I am gleaning knowledge from you three, and I'll keep my humble opinion to myself.
But
it's an open table around here, Daniel. You're always welcome to share.
Always welcome, and he knows it. I mean, but one thing I like, Daniel has basically come into the group through watching my videos and joining in all of this, and he's changed his work rota so he can take part in games with us.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
that
is the definition of commitment.
I used to never work Sundays. Now I work every Sunday and take Saturday off. Correct? Yes.
So yeah, and that is yeah. If you ever want commitment, it's somebody who goes, I want to play more games, so I'm now going to work every Sunday to have Saturdays off, so I can hang around with that bunch of knobheads and play games with them on a Saturday. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I did have the pleasure of DMing for Daniel once, which was enjoyable, where they took on just a small number of about like 80 to 100 goblins. It was nice.
Oh yeah, that session you stepped in for. Yes,
it was fun.
I wish I was there.
Right. I am an old man and I need to empty my bladder, so I'm going to pass the floor over to the two youngsters on the right hand side, and Daniel, if Daniel wants to chime in. Behave yourselves. Talk about expectations. Talk about maybe limitations. What are your own limitations?
So.
Yeah, we're past the halfway point. So talk about your own limitations, and I'd like to be hearing about limitations when I come back. And play nicely, chat. I'm just going to be heading off for a moment.
So it's easiest for me to start off, I think, by saying I've never run anything. So limitations for me, I will find out once I run something.
Yeah.
I can honestly say this could go both on limitations and expectations, because it was discussed about note taking. I am extremely guilty about not note taking, and I admit that every session. And I guess that's also my limitation. Actually, call it sheer laziness, if you will, is I don't or if I do, I lose them. Because, for instance, this Saturday, we don't know if we have anybody running Saturday mornings early session, or for me early, for you guys afternoon. Some of you. So I'm going through my stuff, and I lost my notes on what I ran. And so that's, I guess my limitation would be laziness. That also falls under your expectations. So.
Yeah, but at least you know. Again, so the good thing about knowing limitations is that you can work around and say, like, okay, this is what I'm not good at, but what am I good at? What am I good and what do I lean into? So, with that, Daniel, you know that your limitation is like, okay, you want to basically rock up, you're not going to be taking notes, but then it's very good if you know that someone else does it. You can just lean over and be like, "So, what happened last, session? What can you give me like the bullet points?" And then bam, 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 you're like, "All right, so this is what we're doing. Great, game on." And then you've got your North Star for what to go for. But when I ran the game for you, Daniel, I mean, the old school methods really shown out once you got rolling. And once you got bouncing with the rest of the group, with here's how we're going to be doing the strategies, here's how we're going to be doing that and this and this. Once you had that north goal of what we are doing to accomplish, great. It wasn't a question of laziness. It was just a whole case of like, okay, I've now got a focus point, and then that allowed you to work around. Wouldn't you say that was fair?
Yeah, that's like one reason I've been quiet tonight, as John said. One, I had to bounce back and forth and cook dinner for the family. And then I was going through what I thought I ran, but I can't remember. And I have the date on which we played, so I'm just going to have to scroll back through Discord and see if somebody posted an update so I know where we're at.
Yep.
Maybe somebody will remember. And I'll do that after we're done talking this evening. I'll ask somebody if they remember where we were at.
Sounds like a plan. But can I turn the question over to Imam, if that's all right?
Yeah.
So also, like so you've talked about the limitations as a DM, but have you also given that any thought for like as a player, like if you find that you feel that you are limited in certain aspects, or that you don't feel, or if you feel that you are maybe not enjoying certain aspects and therefore lean away from that?
I think it's just like a mental thing where the more invested I am into the game, the more I will role play and the more I will enjoy it, and the more I will get into the story and blah blah blah. But if I don't enjoy it, then I'll be in my own head about oh, this is boring and blah blah blah, and then that sort of takes me out of it. So it's like a cycle both ways.
No, definitely. I think that just goes back to the whole positive feedback loop. If you're enjoying it, you want to invest into it and get you hyped up to put more and more effort into it.
Yeah. So like with OSE, like the way John runs it on a Saturday is very different to how he runs Call of Cthulhu on a Tuesday, and I very much prefer Call of Cthulhu because it's
meant to be different. It's meant to be different.
Well, no, obviously, yeah, but it's more role play heavy, so I can get into character more, and then the story, dirty, filthy story gamer.
I wasn't here for the question. What's the question? Sorry.
Well, so I'm basically going over and asking people, the limitations. Are you aware of the limitations you have upon yourself, either as a DM or as a player? What are you aware of what it is that you are either not good at, or that you're not comfortable with, or that you just go, I don't like this?
You're clever, son, but I will not reveal my weaknesses to you any more than I will send my DNA to a corporation.
Listen, look around you. All these people were giving in, telling me the information, and me being able to then have it.
Well played, sir, but instead I will just show you sparkly new dice. Ooh, sparkly new dice.
Ooh.
That's all you'll get.
My biggest limitation on the DMing side is organization. I'm a very, very disorganized person.
doesn't that mean your strength is improvisation?
Yes. Yeah, I have to balance it out by
Aw,
I have to
Yeah.
balance it out.
look at
I
you
have to
go.
balance it out, don't I? I have to work around. It's taken time to learn to work around it and to build the confidence to work around it. But yeah, I'm a naturally disorganized person.
You ever pull a campaign fully out of your ass?
Yeah,
Yeah. Fun, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. That's the point. It doesn't
The
matter
paper
if you've
cuts kind
written
of stuff.
500 fucking pages of background or you just showed up and said, all right, what are you playing? Okay, cool. You meet at a tavern. It's called the Red Cock. And there's a big guy behind the bar and his name's Gustav. And Gustav has idea for you to go on adventure. You know, like you don't have to fucking over plan. If you can improv an entire goddamn campaign and have a blast doing it.
Can do, yeah.
I know, Saxis, I apologize. I know that's verboten. That is wrong. I understand. But
Well, okay, so
some of us filthy story gamers can do that. Just saying.
So
Oh,
no,
yes.
that is a very good point because if we take all my DMing and playing careers combined, for the longest part, I did not do improvisation. Surprise, surprise! I would be planning 2 to 3 sessions forwards in accordance to my overarching preparation, and sort of going like, okay, they are going forward, they're going forward, oh, they're deviating. Better start correcting course, putting them back, and here we are, back onto topic. And that's how I would be working. I then had the joy of having a player who believed that no, you should be able, Oscar, you should be able to improvise. You need to be able to improvise. That's a skill that you need to have. So I'm going to go out of my way to be disruptive in the sense of I will think of the things that you didn't think of. That forced me to think on my feet. And me being me, as you pointed out, Bear, I like it when there is the whole arms race, not in terms of the characters, but the whole like, oh, you've now found a loophole I didn't think of. I better start patching that up, and that has begun building things. So I am now at a point where I can say I am comfortable in improvising. However, as is my character, I always have a plan. I always have a structure. I always have, at the very least, an idea for where things are going. I may start a campaign completely blank, where we fumble through things to have the characters interact and know each other to build a world. But by the time we are on session 4 or 5, I know what is going to be happening. I can see the projectile, and I am now doing the math for everything I can do between there and then. And that's how I work.
As I've said many, many times, Neil Gaiman gave me, from an article I read where they talked to him, a great piece of writing advice, which I also use as my GMing advice, which is, it's like taking a trip. You know all the locations you want to see, but how you get there is the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
What about using that same question as a player? Limitations and weaknesses you have as a player. I'll start with my biggest one. I am not a very proactive player. I rarely get any clear ideas before I go into a game of what I want to run. I'm no good at opening a rule book and thinking, oh, I'd really like to play one of those, and I'll do this and give that and that and that and that, and get all these ideas planned out in my head beforehand. I much rather sit down, roll dice, see what the dice give me, and react from there, and go into a game with a fairly blank slate, and then build from it.
I'm a GM. I suck at playing.
Yeah. Do I strike you as the kind of person that's good at letting go of control?
No.
I knew he was going to say something like that.
I can play. I am the kind of person that will lean over to the DM and be like, psst, if you need a co-DM, just let me know. Slide me a note. Give me something. Let me in on the power. I try to share the burden because one, I want them to have fun as well, but I can't really let go because I like being on the other side of the screen, and I am very much of a control kind of freak. Meaning I will know what all the other players can do, and I'll sit and go, I think you should have optimized your character this way. I think you should have done this. I think you should have done that. But I will bite my tongue because you are here to have fun. You are not doing optimal damage. You are not defeating these creatures quickly enough. But then again, I got some different gaming circles where we go out of our ways to do some other things to the games. More like stress testing it. And yeah, so that's why
Have I told you how much I want to GM you in a game, Sax?
I know, because you want to show me this wondrous thing of like being in a game where it's no.
I want you to show the other players. There's the other extreme of being a player. You know what I'm saying? Like there's the normal extreme of being a player, and then there's the Saxiest level player. Hey, DK, good work, man. Nerdy Ogre got mine, and Grumpy Old Slan got yours.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
Thank you, Daniel.
It's all right. He's
No,
a mod
I-
anyway, that supersedes it.
I've never run a game for Saxius either. Saxius has run a game for me, but I've never run a game for Saxius. So I think we need to see Saxius play more. Definitely.
No.
You best believe if he plays in one of your games, John, he's going to be taking revenge that way as well.
Good.
No,
Bring it on.
No, so here's the thing though. So as a player, I am objective oriented. We have to get shit done. I am not faffing around because as a person, when I come in, if it's an online game, I come in and go, we've got 3 hours to get things done. We are objectively based. Shut up. I don't need to know about your work life right now. We are gaming. I better be hearing clickety-clackety dice rolling because we are here to defeat monsters, kick ass, and drag out the gold with us or whatever. Fantasy, trucking, doesn't matter. We are here to achieve objectives. I will take the objectives and break them down so that we have things to do, because I've seen players be paralyzed because they go like, how are we going to do this? It's like, well, what's our breakdown points? What's our steps? It's quite simple. You just approach it like you do logistics and the military. You just have objectives, small steps. That's what I'm like as a player. And that's why I generally speaking, I don't go in and be the player, because I sit there and go like, I'm going to start steamrolling in. If I find that the group is not taking action, I sure as hell will step in there and go, right, you guys can't be administrative. I will now be administrative. I'm sorry, Bear. Like I'm going on this rant. This is what I'm like.
No. I can only get so erect, so I need to go look at like things like Codex right now.
But because you want a player that comes in and goes like, right, guys, this is our North Star. We're achieving this, and here's how we're doing it. You are going to go. Yeah.
Have you watched the Codex Albana game?
I have, and I keep on thinking.
Faff about is like their battle cry.
I know, and
how can we faff about in this scene, and how can we faff about in that scene?
I don't know
how
how
can
many
Devere
times
have a dick measuring contest in that scene.
Pardon me for saying this, Imam, but honestly, I have shouted at my stereo while driving home because you and Devere are wasting time dick measuring each other, and I'm just like, you two should be leading the goddamn charge. What kind of fucking knights are you if you're too busy?
Excuse me, you peasant. But Devere has been leading the charge. It is Navri who stood there and questioned his own bravery.
Slow down there, Devere, because when Sax plays, he's going to be playing at Dansk, and they are high men. You culturally, Devere would know you don't talk to high men like that.
Right now, he's a peasant. He's not yet a Dansk.
No, he is currently Sven Jorgol, and he's going to put you in your place. And also, by the way, you need his longship to get to the next leg of the adventure. Let's see if Devere can fuck that up.
Yes, of course he can.
Funnily enough, I do remember when you were talking about this that I said I would love to play a Dane. I'd love to play as a merchant. So,
would you like to buy some of the best cloth from Calabria?
No. We have better sheep than you have women.
No, you do not. No, you do not.
This is awesome. This is why you need to at least do a guest star in a couple of these games. But besides that, no. But you're right. Look, as a player, good quality as a player is we've already discussed. Weaknesses as players is I think a lot of people have a problem understanding, and it's a double-headed coin. You're not the fucking star, or hey, maybe step up in this fucking scene. You know what I mean? And like that's the two extremes you're always going to deal with, right? Players who just fucking, I am here, it is me, it's all about me, 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 me. And the other player who you're like, yes, and then of course you find the coin, and it has Ishmiri's script on it. And then everyone stares at everybody while Iman does nothing because he's just like, right? That would be an example of what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that happened to Iman. I'm saying that would be an example. This idea where players...
No, I heard Ishmiri and I looked up.
That's nice. Players either will or will not take the appropriate step. And sometimes they'll take the inappropriate step for demanding the center of attention. And that can be very destructive to a game.
Yes. Players need to know when is the right time for them to step up and when is the time for them to pull back a little and let the others have their time in the limelight. Should they want it? I mean, some players don't want their time in the limelight. Some players are happy to ride with the game. It depends on the game. Yes, even as a player, it is save versus Sacrius. I mean, I have played one session of OSE where I was a player and Sacrius was also a player. You did pop in once. I believe it was Slan's game.
Yeah, so again, OSE is open for everyone to join in. Everyone can jump in for that. Though being mindful that we are sitting with 7 players there, I'm not about to start, barreling in, but I am going to be trying to at least go like, come on, move on. But I don't think I did too much in that game because there's not the focus.
No, it's a very relaxed game. It's probably not your sort of thing. I mean, OSE is a very simple system, and I know you like a little bit more crunch in there.
Well, it's not even the math. It's just like, again, it's just it's back and OSE. Like, I've read over it a couple of times, and I just find myself going, "But I can do this in 2nd edition." So it's taste. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, precisely. But we play the games we enjoy, and what is good is that right now we are playing games that we are enjoying. You're running Heroic for Iman. You've run a game in my server. Bear isn't getting to run all the games because people are crying off, unfortunately.
Oh no! The drought has ended. The deluge begins on tomorrow night.
Okay.
Though we're not playing on Saturday, which is a fucking heartbreaker.
Yeah. I'm probably playing too many games at the moment, but don't care. The whole point, the whole point of me setting up this channel, the whole point of me setting up the Discord server was to play games. That's why we're here. It's why my channel is here. That's why I got talking to all you guys. It was all about gaming. It's as simple as that. We're here to play games.
More importantly, what has drawn me to this place, what is drawing me back to the Discord and all that, is the authenticity of the people coming here to contribute. We are coming in with different walks of life, different perspectives, different objectives, but the ultimate are different methods of how to obtain the same goal of having games and fun. Go on, Bear.
How many subscribers do you have, John?
I hit 2K.
There we go. I have like 2,100, right? We are surrounded on YouTube and in the RPG sphere by channels that have 10 and 15,000 subscribers based on clickbait and negativity and talking shit about WotC, or why if you don't play OSR, you're not even a role player. How can you call yourself a man? And blah, 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 blah. Yet we've managed to put together essentially a community of roughly 2,000 people who are open to discussing, being respectful to each other, appreciating that there are differences in games, styles, techniques, storytelling, whatever the case may be, yet we can all still get along, be respectful, and have a good time. That's why I did this. That's why I come on your channel. That's why I hang out with you guys. That's why I want to role play with you guys, because it's not about the bullshit. It's about the community. It's about the society. It's about the experience we all get to have together.
Absolutely.
Do I agree with everything you guys say? Of course not. Do you agree with everything I say? Of course not. Do any of us agree with anything Iman says? Probably not. But the point is that we all are respectful and we communicate and we get along. So you know what?
Yeah.
Let's keep doing that.
Yes.
Absolutely. And this comes to my last point in terms of gaming expectations. And it might be a bit of a sore point. It might be the time when people switch off. But I do feel that certain online influences have changed expectations in terms of gaming, and not necessarily for the better. Now, it hasn't directly impacted me, but I have read, I don't know how truthful they are, plenty of stories where gamers have gone into games expecting them to play in a certain way, expecting a certain level of delivery, a certain level of commitment, or a certain style. And this can be from having played video games, or it can have been through watching Critical Role, for example. That's my point. And I don't think those expectations are remotely fair. Have you seen any of that sort of influence in your gaming or in your online experiences? Either from either side, video gamers, Critical Role fans, that sort of thing, in terms of their expectations of gaming.
Yes, to all of those. And it's a really
Elaborate.
simple thing. It's a really simple thing to deal with. You explain what your style is, and you go, "This is what I'm going to be doing. These are my objectives. Here's how I go about it. This is not Critical Role." So my real life group, when I met up with them, I told them, "Listen, if you know about Critical Role, great. I don't have your style. I don't agree with a lot of the things we do here or that they do. I do it my way. My way is this way." And that will mean that I don't do these things with kitty gloves. I'm gonna be fair to you, but I'm also gonna be trying to twist the system against you. I'm gonna be really making you fight to stay afloat. But I am also gonna be there to help you feel the most heroic adventurer when you overcome the problems. I want you to feel like you have overcome a dragon. Even if it's just another monster, I want you to feel it has been a victory. So you will have highs, you will certainly have lows, but this is a part of the style that I do. I give you the dark, but I also give you the light because you need both. The video games is a much simpler things because many of them comes from like, here's how this game works. I like the story, I like the mechanics. Great. They usually get a system shock once they introduced to how the mechanics actually work in the tabletop games. Once they get over that, it's easy. And sometimes you actually find that video games have ideas that are better than the role-playing games. Surprise,
John, I've
surprise.
just put a comment. Can you pin it up, please?
Which one?
Such as the Dark Souls of DMs. That is way too much credit than I deserve. That's my opinion.
No, that
My
is
point
what
is-
you are. This is the game. This is how you play it. If you play it wrong, you are going to die.
All right. My point is, when it comes to the video gamers, you have played, John. You have played Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate was taken where they took a lot of the rules from second edition and plunked it in as written, but that if you are going to be coming, so that is at least a point where you can almost say one for one. You can learn it, but you're not going to learn it the same way as though when you played it with a group.
Absolutely.
And Baldur's Gate is going to be a lot more min-maxing. And you'll find that from video gamers that they come in with a more min-maxing game because they're used to gaming the system.
Yeah.
So you have to adjust expectations. You have to put limitations, you have to put boundaries and adjust what it is that the players should expect or should be I can't remember how you put it, Bear. So I'm just going to say expect. Just adjust what it is that they are going to be getting out of the game, so that they are at least on the same level, or at least you've been honest enough and transparent enough with them. So my experience is it's not a problem because they come from backgrounds that are introducing us to that are being introduced to the hobby. Great, I want more of that. And two, you just adjust what it is that you adjust what they have been exposed to how you run the game, and then you can introduce them to your style, and they may find I actually really like how much I feel like an insignificant little speck of dust in the world of Call of Cthulhu when John's running the game. I feel insignificant, and it's funny to play as a character that's being oppressed by these by these beliefs. Awesome.
I mean, do you adjust your style at all?
What have I just said, John?
I mean,
if your question is, do I change how I game to bring them in? Yes, but I tell them, I am doing an adjustment period. My real life group, I told them the first 3 sessions before I throw you face first into Ravenloft is you getting used to the game. Right. Once they got into Ravenloft, I introduced them to what Ravenloft is like. It was a gradual thing. I'm not going to open up their mouth and pour poison in there.
Because
it is better served in smaller doses so that they can survive the longer exposure.
What I'm going to say is, I adjust my style from game to game. I'm trying to force myself to adjust my style. I think it's a good idea in terms of being able to run different types of game. I mean, Call of Cthulhu, quite frankly, would not work if I ran it in the same way as I run D&D. But I looking back, I probably ran my first few sessions of Call of Cthulhu a little too similar to how I run D&D. It's learning a new, it was almost learning a new art. I don't tend to adjust my style for the players. I more adjust my own style according to the game, how I think the game should be represented. And I'm a little bit stuck in my ways with how some games run. For example, my D&D is very much medieval fantasy. I try to keep the magic down a little, which is why I've ended up falling out with 5th edition. I don't like a superhero style D&D game. If I want to play superheroes, I'll play Marvel.
No, you'll play heroic.
I'll play heroic. Yes, I'll play heroic when I get it.
Hey, the PDF's there, lady. It's fully playable right now. And as a backer, you have the PDF waiting for you in your emails.
No, the book, please.
Okay, well then you're going to wait a long time, and that's just you being you.
Yes, me being awkward.
John,
yes.
John, I'm just going to drag you into an online game with heroic then.
Yeah, do that. I'd like to play it. I would like to give it a go because
do it.
I did have some good fun back in the 80s playing Marvel.
Yeah.
You'll have to take Friday's stream off because you're ill.
Hang on, gentlemen. I must side tangent, but it's worth it. In a private chat for Legion of Myth, Brian, Gaming with ADHD, just posted a picture of the wheelchair from the new D&D book that his son bought. Then he sort of posted off, look. And of course, the discussion has begun about blah, 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 blah. And then someone said, your dungeon has to pass OSHA approval, to which I said, kobolds run OSHA in a fantasy game, to which Cody answered, Saxius runs OSHA in my fantasy game.
I don't know what
OSHA for the Europeans that understand the Occupational Safety and Health Association that basically makes sure work sites aren't deadly.
I subscribe to a channel that explicitly shows OSHA violations because I want to see what. Yes, I am this level of sad.
That is the most Saxious thing I've ever heard.
So, yes, of course I'm doing this. Because why? Because when you go into these dungeons, of course I'm going to have OSHA violations. And more importantly, I have had a pseudo, not lich, but whatever, but I did have a crypt thing who had OCD and basically went, it has to be by the book, which meant it was OSHA approval. Don't judge me.
I thought that was funny.
It is funny.
Cody says that. So Saxius runs OSHA in his fantasy world. John, I appreciate your dedication to paper, but you're being a stick in the mud because you're basically going to be waiting another year before we're going to have that available.
I'm going to step in. Iman, when we get to a decent point with our Friday game, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ping you, John. I'm going to tell you my Fridays aren't free. If you want to start doing that as a stream, because at that point I will have a lot more experience. If you want to invite Iman in, you will have another player with experience. If Jason is still free, you will have another player with experience, and we can invite some other people in, and we can run a heroic game.
As a Friday night stream?
As a Friday night stream.
You're on.
Yes.
Why do you think I'm... Yeah, exactly. So let me just get a little bit more under my belt with the one I'm currently running. And once that's done... I know you prefer
would it be a new campaign, Sax?
It would be a brand new campaign.
I might have to cancel one of my Friday games so I can be a player.
New character?
Again, this is down the line, so who knows? You might finish up your Friday campaign, and yes, I will still send the invite to you. But that's what I'm putting out there because I am not.
Bear in mind, my Fridays aren't free now till December, pretty much.
Listen. That's fine. My point is, I will get some experience in, and I'm not thinking this is going to be happening in the next couple of months. This is probably going to be 2025, but I am not having you be a backer of Heroic and the Bear be here and us not at least trying to do something with it.
Yeah, we'll do it then. We'll do it.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Do it. Oh, bless you, Daniel.
Thank you.
You are still awake then, Daniel. Good.
Yes.
Oh, cheers, Daniel.
I didn't work today. I've been up since 4 o'clock.
Oh, I have been at work today.
I just spent $3,500 on a picture window in my living room.
Ouch.
Yeah, I could have bought 2 of the motorcycles I want for the price of that window.
Wow.
I think this reply from Paul to Orkcol earlier just it sums up gaming in my opinion and how it should be. There should be less dictating to people about how you should run a game, how you should treat players, how you should do this, how you should do that, blah 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 blah. There are games there for everybody. Not every game will be for you. Not every player will be right for your group. Not every DM will be right for you. Not every player will get on with all the other players. But use the internet to find people who are like-minded and enjoy their company. Saxius.
Hi. So, 2 things has happened, and one being that Bear was ever so kind to introduce me to Sergeant Dan, and Sergeant Dan introduced me to Handmaster, and that's been a wonderful rabbit hole. But more importantly, I have also been introduced to Shadow Dark, and I got to pitch that to one of my other groups. I basically sat with a group of 5 adults who basically sat there and went, "Why are you telling us about this, Oscar? We are already invested. Stop selling this to us." Simply because, as Paul is saying, there are games out there for all tastes. Shadow Dark seems to be bringing out something that is, well, quite simply, it's different. It is challenging, but it's bringing out a taste in games that people want. They want something that is more lower fantasy, more gritty, and so on, which is what, again, when you play in a game where you're suddenly being told you're playing as a dwarf, but you don't have dark vision. You have to have a torch. Wow. My group is like, we really like this. You've got limitations on how much you can carry, but it's not by encumbrance. It's by the number of slots, which is dictated by your strength. Oh, now this is getting different. Can we do stacks? No, we can't. Oh, this is getting interesting. And then so on and so on. There are loads of games out there. We are going just on drive-through RPG, as I think Bear said previously. There is so much. It's hard to find what it is that you actually want. So finding people that are willing to go out and test other things and go, here is how this game ran for me, means that I I, as a person, as a DM, I can then take that thing, go do some investigation, do the sales pitch, and lo and behold, I will suddenly have a group sitting there and going, "We're in, son of a bitch, I'm in." And yeah, again, props go to Bear for letting me in on the stream with Zane, so I could pick his brain about Shadow Dark, because I was hearing so many delicious things.
John, I'd like you next time to warn me if this is going to just be another Saxiest porn stream, please. Just so I have, I can prepare myself mentally for like this thing he does where he gets so excited over charts.
Okay, fine. Okay,
ladies and gentlemen,
ladies and gentlemen, you need to get ready to back Heroic when it is out on Drive-Thru RPG, and sign up for the Patreon.
Thank you. I wasn't looking for a plug, but thank you. Holy crap, man. Like, this entire conversation has just been, how hard can Sax's dick get while talking about things? It's been amazing.
I mean, you should know, Bear. You should know, Bear, that when Sax just sits there with that grin on his face,
I know.
Ready to you know what he's going to come out with, and you know him well enough by now. So I'm not going to need to warn you.
All right, fine. That's
like a warning on a hot cup of coffee saying caution, contents might be hot.
Hey, I live in North America. There are instructions on how to open up chocolate bars on chocolate bars.
What? That's true.
Caution, this product may contain nuts on a bag of peanuts. Yes.
To which I literally saw that and thought to myself, if you can't figure out how to open up the chocolate bar, you don't deserve the chocolate bar.
No.
Anyway,
or eat the wrapper, more fiber.
Seraphis does have a little bit of a point that like-minded people aren't the problem. Trying to get people off the teat of D&D is, it does seem to be a go-to game. And I know my lot I meet up with on a Monday. It seems it's a game they fall back to because it's what they know. And some of them are playing in 3 5e games a week. And I'm quite happy just to drift along doing that. And it does seem that every time I bring out a different... Because I don't run all the games for them nowadays. They have learnt how to DM, which is great. And they're running games for other friends and family members and all sorts, which is fantastic. But it's always 5th edition. Thus, whenever I run a game for them now, it's never 5th edition. In fact, my 5th edition is something I won't ever... I've done my bit. Decided it's beyond me fixing it for what I want. If you like it, play it. But there are plenty of people out there who are playing different things. It's just that you have to find them, and places like my Discord, Bear's Discord, are the sort of places where you will find them. But you have to be willing to play the online game. And I get that, Seraphis, you're in Australia, so there are.
So you're not real. You're just a figment of our imagination.
You've got an issue with dice falling
the wrong way.
They falling towards the ceiling rather than the table and that sort of thing.
True say.
So it's one of those things. But hey ho, the games are there. The games are there.
So I'm gonna invite all of you to join. Look at that, Paul Morgan! You're so sweet. Look what he did for you.
Thank you, Paul.
So that's Barney Fraggles, the Flush, Orc Cool got one new to the channel. Pink Bow Birdo, Zax Xander, and Matthias Felipe, which is a great name. And I'm going to put a villain or a character in Heroic now named Matthias Felipe. Hello, I am Matthias Felipe. Anyway, I wanted to say something, which is Hey, Nurse Nerd. I'm inviting all of you to join Cody and I in our For Fuck's Sake, There Are Games Other Than D&D campaign, where we basically get on panel shows and just go, can we stop using D&D as the baseline? Just talk about role-playing as a general concept, please. 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 But, we expect we won't have many members and there won't be a lot of dues.
Oh, please. Get me in there. I'd love to talk about Shadowrun and how I bring my Excel sheets into that.
My point is that I'm at the point. My point is I'm at the point. At my age, 54, been role playing since 1985. I'm tired of every goddamn discussion I get in about role playing on a panel show degenerating into D&D bullshit. Okay, I miss 93 to 99, when second edition was dying, Vampire was taking over the world, people were playing other games, and nobody I knew was playing D&D. When we would find someone, oh, I'm running a D&D game, we were like, really? Wow, I haven't played D&D in like 5 years. And then third edition came out, and D&D became the 800-pound gorilla again in the role-playing world. And the D20 revolution happened, and the OGL happened, and I'm so fucking sick of D&D. I want to talk about other things.
I agree, and I'm seeing, at least from my groups, my current real-life group of 5th edition, they're basically going like, well, we've got Heroic lined up, first and foremost, but we've also got The Witcher lined up, and my second edition group have all said, we don't want to do a D&D game next. We want something different.
Yeah.
Cody's ears were burning.
Sorry, by the way, I mentioned him 3 times, and he showed up. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well timed, Cody. Well timed. But yes, so I have met a lot of my current stable groups. I met via D&D, but I'm finding that once we've sort of gone through the phase of like, hey, D&D is the thing that unifies us. Let's do something different. Players usually sort of go, oh, lovely, RuneQuest. Yep, go on.
Do you know how hard it was for me to get this perfect a box set at a reasonable price? I was so happy. I was so fucking happy. But I don't care what version of BRP it is. I don't care if it's Magic World, it's Call of Cthulhu, it's Pendragon. I don't care. This game exists. And once you play it and really play it, you'll go, fuck D&D. That's like with training wheels. That's easy mode. Let's play hard mode, baby.
Makes this way doing this.
Come on, you gotta start building a collection so you can hold shit up to the table.
Got that. Because I want my players to suffer. Anyway, my point being.
Hang on, we're not done. This,
we aren't.
Yes,
this
John,
will be
that
coming
is exactly it.
to you, John. This book will be yours at Claricon, plus the Player's Companion book. You know, like, come on. There's so many. Look, if all you want to play is fantasy, okay? If all you want to play is fantasy and you're tired of the expression from Knights of the Dinner Table, Fireball's coming online, you can play so many other games that are going to give you so many different experiences that D&D just constantly degenerates into not giving you those experiences. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, if you want to do bookkeeping and have the Empire after your ass, play Rogue Trader with Sexius.
Oh my god. I found a table with 500 different ways that something can go wrong within your ship. And that's before I go into the trade lanes, the relationships, the political aspects. Oh, God. Yes. Plus, you get to be at high level and have a lot of power. You're not weak.
There's a wonderful double-page spread in Call of Cthulhu with 2 D100 tables. One table's got 100 different phobias, the other's got 100 different manias. Lovely. Yeah. We rolled on that last night. We had to roll on it twice because the first result was too odd.
So
it didn't quite work.
The point being, going outside of our comforts, or outside of the current.
Are we in the pumpkin hour almost?
We are.
20 minutes or so.
We're pretty much done.
Mm-hmm.
So once we are more or less moving out of the pumpkin. Not the pumpkin, what I'm saying, out of the comfort zone of D&D. Do something different. Well, one, because as a DM, it will challenge you to learn new systems. You will get new rules into your mind. You will find ideas that will start tweaking it, and you will start finding that your style will build up and it will improve, especially if you allow yourself to do such radical ideas as adapting. And go to the table to escape the bloody things. Well,
don't play sex.
You can play my games, but I do it for me. So I see spreadsheets every day. I am working in shipping. Been doing that for the last 8 years. We use Excel religiously to keep tabs of everything. So yeah. Either way, but do something different, learn new systems, see new interpretations or new angles for how things can be done.
Xnard. I want to address Xnard, and that's
This
fine.
this one.
Yeah, well, the one before that where he said, why aren't they more backwards compatible with D20 or whatever? Dude, if you found the game you love, play the game you love, and don't worry what a bunch of old fucking men say. It's all good. No one's judging you for it. Just for me, I'm done with Dungeons and Dragons. I'll come back to it in the future. I'm sure I will. It's like a comfy old sweater. You can't help but want to play it. But at this point in my life, I just want to play games that offer me a little bit more, and they're just different. You, as I say in my channel and in my groupings, you do you, man. No one's judging you for it. And if it makes you happy, mazel tov, man. More fucking power to you.
I mean, I play and run OSC, which is to all intents and purposes a cleaned up version of BX D&D. I love it. It's the version of D&D I want to play now. I don't want to be messing about with the more intricate mechanics. I still love the detail of first edition AD&D, but if you noticed when we were playing through Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, I simplified combat and was running a initiative pretty much identical to OSE. Very, very much simplified. Forget about segments and all that sort of stuff. Allow a bit of freedom of movement, because I want that simplicity now. So I still enjoy D&D because OSE is BX D&D.
John, you've changed, right? Since I started coming on to these streams, at those times you were very adamant. First edition is the best edition. You cannot change my mind. And things have really changed since then. You've found new games that are simpler than that. You've found games that are more streamlined. And
basically, what it is because I've started running and playing a lot more games through Discord. And I did always say, though, if you remember, I always ran first edition AD&D with a simplified initiative. It's what I ran at the table. I never ran it with the full intricacies of combat. And I've just gone whole hog now in terms of going more simple. I still love the detail of AD&D. I still think it has the best adventures. I love the flavor in there. I like Gygax's florid script. And there's a lot, all the names in there still invoke that sort of fuzziness, that warmness that I feel from the good parts of my teenage years. But what it is because I've run so many more games in Discord, I've learnt more and more that when I run games online, I need the games to flow, and a game is more likely to flow if it is simple.
Well, so I was going to say, because I think the games over Discord are going to become a more and more regular thing. Echo, it's great. You found something that is both scratching the itch in terms of you having your D&D variant, and you get in a way where you can continue your minimal prep and the maximum amount of fun, which is your style. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that this is very good for you because this is exactly what you want. This is exactly what you need when you do your games, and that's why it is important to learn what you're like as a DM, learn what you're like as a player, and more importantly, learn to read into the different games that are out there and find the ones that are best suited for what you want to do.
Absolutely. And one thing, having the channel and having all the people to talk to, like you guys, and all the games to play, one thing that has broadened my horizons. It's broadened my gaming. It's broadened my gaming interests. And it's given me more confidence when it comes to running games to try things that are different. I'm learning.
Punch up Paul Morgan's statement right now.
His latest one. My heart lies with basic.
Paul Morgan. There you go. Playing any game with friends is always great.
Yes, 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 yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We used to spend, when I was in my late teens and early 20s, and then after the first marriage, my late 20s, our group got together at their friend's mother's house every Sunday afternoon into later evening. But every major holiday, i.e., Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Easter, Thanksgiving, we always got together at his mother's house and would play like a 12, 14-hour session. And we'd take a 1 hour break to eat a proper dinner that she would make for us. And it was always a good time. But yeah, like you said, spend time with your friends, just enjoy what you do.
My Tuesday night stream, which is the Tuesday nights, we were playing Star Trek. Then we were playing Heroic. And now Cody's going to be running his game, Wizards of Shadow City, for us. And then when that's over, Zane might run Shadow Dark for us. And when that's over, Sean, Mage's Musings, might run OSE for us. And then when that's over, maybe I'll run something for them. Like, we're now rotating. So we're playing different games and we're having a different experience, right?
Yep.
The more games you play, the more fun you have.
Yes.
That's what I say.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And one of my longest running groups, we would play a game for a year and we'll go, right, new game. Do that for about a year, new game, and just cycle it through it. We would rarely have a campaign last more than a year, but at that point we've sort of exhausted out the system, and we'd hit the point where like, this is a good point to end. Happy days, next game, and we just keep on cycling through the games we've got, and we try to then go away from the standard D&D and into the more obscure or the different ones, so we can get something new, or we decide to do a completely new style that we haven't done before.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, until I started running games online, I had this, I think, a misguided yearning to want to try and run AD&D as it was written. At least try.
Yeah.
And that has been completely expunged from my system now, because quite simply, I don't want the constant mathematical bookkeeping that goes into running it exactly as it as is written. The constant mind-bending oddities. I love the quaintness of the oddities to read about, to reminisce over, and the books. I still believe the AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide to be the best RPG book ever written, because it just opened up the imagination. There was so much in there. Yes, I mean, I think General Nutt made a comment, Gygax style, a bunch of post-it notes randomly stuffed in a book. That is exactly how the Dungeon Master's Guide feels, because it's thrown together so haphazardly. But I no longer want to run it as it presents the game. I want to use it for inspiration, and I think that's how most games should be approached, personally.
All right.
Run what you love, play what you love, have fun, bounce dice, roll initiative, get into trouble, do wacky adventures, do crazy heists, beat chicken goblins, do whatever the fuck you need to have a good time.
Do silly accents and voices. It's fine.
I will get you, John.
But remember, in Soviet Russia, dice roll you.
You. Oh, okay.
Seeing as General Nutt is here, I have to frustrate him and mention Ogre Penis sleeping bag.
That's a mental image I did not need. Thank you.
Why do you? And I had to roll. I had to narrate that.
You know what I like about you, John? You know what I like about you? You're a well-spoken, educated man. You're very knowledgeable of many things. And then your little 12-year-old humor comes out.
Yes, I am a 12-year-old.
You are such a fucking child sometimes.
I feel bad for his wife.
I have never ever laughed to the point where it feels like my bladder's going to give way in the way that I laughed during that session. But it wasn't me who was doing that. Anyway, I have
Like I am trying to suppress the memories that are currently invading my mind right now.
He's about to take his glasses off. You don't want that.
But not to mention the amount, because I am now remembering in details all the gifts that were sent into the chat, which are still there, by the way, because I have not gone in to clean it up, because you don't want to do that, John. You want there to be evidence of what catastrophes you have done.
I want to do my impersonation of Saxius running a game that John is in. And it goes something like this.
You are spot on. You could be my double.
Wow, Vegas ears, but sure.
That's funny.
Yes, and yes, General Nod, I did indeed force you. Why? Because I made you. Well, you rolled the nature of your habits as a goblin. I just had to sit there and go, you have a certain habit, don't you? And I said, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. Yet I was the one remembering what his character had. And here I just went.
And we killed a massive ogre, and yeah, it went from there.
I need an adult. Is there an adult in the room?
Oh, I gave up. Mom, you're going to have to be the adult here.
It's funny because I was just thinking, mentally, I might actually be older than John.
When he turns into a 12-year-old, yes.
See, I've got the humor of a 13-year-old. See, that's so different.
So those of you who are in chat, who've only heard the snippets about this campaign, they're all true and worse.
Worse. I do not even know where to begin to summarize the absolute chaos, the mayhem that was the Goblin campaign in Shadow of the Demon Lord. A campaign which, by the way, was meant to be me showing John that here's my style. I am going to be murdering a bunch of player characters. Yes, it was much worse. And it was meant to be sort of introducing an OSR-esque game, so John could have a different kind of game under his belt, and I could just sit and torture players as I do. Mm-hmm. What happens?
We tortured him.
Session 1, I have a player willingly throwing themselves into a grave to be buried alive because I basically argued their character thought he was dead because he was crucified halfway through the game of the first session. And there was just like, well, I have been crucified, I have been resurrected, but it's not been done properly, so I should be dead, I should be buried. And then that was session 1. Then we go into session 2 where they arrive at a farm. They've been hired to murder an innocent, young man. And they need to be, stealthy about it. They sneak into the chicken coop. Chickens don't like it when there are invaders, so they go, we must be hiding amongst them. We shall now take the chickens and tie them to our heads, and we shall be just invisible. Why? I don't know. Orc logic. If you know anything about war, yes. Goblin logic, orc logic, anything like that. And it just went from there. And it got worse. It got to the point of where John decided that during one of their jobs as calling them assassins does a disservice to actual assassins who try to make out of this job.
Oh, no. What they killed that day was good taste.
But they killed that. It was very much good taste. It got to the point that by session 3 or session 4, John's character was making his way through the toilet to get to one of the other characters, abusing the fact that his character, being a goblin, is immune to diseases. The more they learned about the game, the worse it became. The more they learned, the more they realized, the worse it became, and the more frustrated they would become about trying to get it. The more encouraged they became. And it just went from there. I realized, and about session 5, that I can make them swap sides by just continuously having them be employed. Because in our game, if goblins weren't employed, they weren't allowed to live in the barn, which was their home. Ergo, I made them join cultists and commit vile acts. Then I made them swap places and then work for the wizard. This was me testing the waters to see how their twisted little logic worked, and I managed to make them dance to my tune. Fantastic! I also ended up basically causing a blight upon my own town doing it. Oh well, you gotta break a few eggs. Oh God! Something else happened. I managed to send you into the hills where I was hoping that August was going to kill you. You lured them into the town. The town got destroyed. You killed one of the ogres. You decided that for lols and giggles, General Nut shall now take away the gigantic penis of the ogre, and because that was his trophy, and he being a goblin,
as a sleeping bag.
would use it as a sleeping bag. Welcome. This is me trying to summarize. What? 4 months, 5 months of gaming weekly. Am I hitting them? I'm missing a lot of things, like the players making up these false accusations that these random NPCs had ugly wives and stepmothers, and the hag was actually someone else's, daughter or something like that. It got bonkers, and I'm not spending brain power to actually remember the details.
I know who hurt you.
Oh no, that again. I got back. I got back at them.
John, I think you need a drink, man.
I have never laughed as much as I did playing that game. The way myself, General Nut, and Gingerbeard all bounced off each other relentlessly with the stupidity, the total utter bonkersness. It was so off the wall, so insane. But we just the three of us just took it and spun it and went further and further and further, and it never ceased to be funny for us.
The thing that amazed me, the part where you caught me really off guard, was when during one of the biggest fights for the barn, your home, you decided to abandon all of your comrades, all of your friends. You don't have any loved ones, so that doesn't matter. And you ran into the barn because the rule of the Goblin Society was the person who licked it owns it. And you licked every board.
And I ran around licking the barn and thus became king of the goblins.
And I made you do quite a bit of damage to that, and you had to speak while holding your tongue. Exactly. I'm going to end it here because we're going to go into details of what followed after that, which is not meant for YouTube.
No. The marriage.
Yes, the marriage.
To Granny Herpes.
The name says it all. Actually, no, it doesn't, but I think at this point we've painted a bleak enough picture. Which, by the way, this is just John and General Nuts and Entourage, whom I worked with and built with to create the little game. It was fun. Yeah, he was the only one that was married. No, my point is that is not a representation of my dear little game, Shadow of the Demon Lord. It is very different from that. Do not listen to John. I will run this game again at one point, and I will do it properly.
That's what he thinks.
Sorry, Bear. Would you like me to just exit stage left?
No, God, no, Jesus. No.
We are 1 minute away from Pumpkin Hour anyway, so I think it's time for people to shill their channels. Go on.
Don't subscribe me, don't buy my stuff. Leave me alone. Sax?
All right, sure. I have another YouTube channel called the Accounting DM. I only have one video, but the entire point is that I am going to be doing what I do as a DM, usually involving spreadsheets, and what it does to benefit my games, so that I can basically share my style in case anyone wants that, in case anyone likes that. Outside of that, please go to Patreon, sign up for Heroic. It's a really fun game, and well, taking it from the player downstairs, Iman, whom is currently going through it, he's enjoying it. At least he's showing up every time I say that there is a game. And yeah, I'm looking forward
Early,
to
in
it.
fact.
Yeah, you are showing up early, and I am also wanting to drag John into it because it is a fun game. And just to be mathematical about it, the amount of stuff that you're going to get for $5 on the Patreon, I mean, at this point, it is a straight up steal. Just do it because the amount of resources you get is fantastic. That's me.
I'm being molested by a cat.
It's not the worst thing I've heard since I've done the Goblin campaign.
That's true.
Hey up, lad. I'm right
Oh
northern
my
me.
God, John. I'm going to put you in a sleeper hold you're never going to wake up from. It's going to happen.
Iman, give us your channel. Give us your shilling. We're past the pumpkin hour now.
Hey up, lad. I'm right
can't-
northern me. It's intellectual quandary, like, you know, just subscribe to my channel. Sometimes I do video game stuff, innit?
Awesome.
Now do it like Ali G.
Yo, sometimes I play like the video games and that.
Proper.
Was that okay?
Boyakasha.
Booyakasha. Proper.
Help. All right.
Love me, Julie. She's fit. Proper.
I do have a question though. Do we have somebody to run Saturday morning?
that's a
I
real
I
question.
don't know. It depends.
I think we
haven't
can
heard
take
from-
that off stream.
I haven't heard from Gene yet. I can't.
Alright.
I'm at work. So if Slam
will you
or
be able
you
to
want to
play,
step
John?
in, I'll be able.
Will
I'm
you be
able,
able to play?
I should be able to play.
All right. Well,
So-
I'll get something ready in case we need somebody.
Good man.
I think
Good
I
man.
figured out. I think you guys are back in town.
I mean, it's been a while, so
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
won't. We won't.
Well,
worry.
we were talking. I went.
Okay, guys, I got to go make supper so you can talk about your gaming and all that
Yeah.
fun stuff and
Yeah.
schedules,
Yeah.
but I literally have to eat and take pills. So
I don't
thanks for having me
blame you.
on. Always
Yeah.
fun to be
Cheers,
here.
Bear.
Peace,
Cheers, Bear.
love, geek.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Right. I mean, yes. If you want to sort something out for Saturday, Dan, you're more than welcome.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's-
I don't know if Gene's planning to run or not yet. Haven't heard from him this week. So, I mean, yes. If ever you want to be there as a backup DM to fill in when people are not available, you're more
Yeah,
than
I'll
welcome.
plan on something in case somebody else does it. That works. That's good.
Good.
Right.
Good. Right. I'm going to say, you all know. I mean, I did actually enjoy running S3. For all its faults, I had fun with it, and I had fun with the players, and the players had fun with the scenario, and they had fun with my game. So it worked. It was hard work. I still don't love sci-fi, but I'm a little more tolerant of S3 for existing.
But
Um,
and we have
so-
sports.
And you have sporks. You have sporks indeed. So yes, it is time to end the stream. It is time to head off to bed. And I shall see you all soon. Yes, General Nut, S3, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. But thank you all, everybody in chat. Thank you guys for taking part in the stream. It's been good fun tonight. And I'll see whoever's there on Friday.
All right,
Good
have a
night.
good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.